anything. Hi.
Hello there.
We're live. How are you guys doing tonight? I have Mr. John Walk here with me tonight. Say hi, Barb.
Hi, Barb.
Barb's on the other side of the camera. This is her camera here, and hers is going to be on the glass tonight. She's going to wave to us from the other side of the camera.
I wave from afar.
Yeah, we're going to give it a little bit of time for everybody to get in the room. We're really excited to be able to bring you some glass. They hauled how many tubs down today?
About 6, I think, altogether, wasn't it?
It was at least 6.
Yeah, it was
So,
at least 6.
If nothing else, you guys are going to see some beautiful glass tonight. So John's going to impart some of his knowledge about what it is. Barb and I are going to interject, and nobody's having any fun tonight.
We don't.
Right.
So I'm going to
crabby too.
Say hi to a few people here. I'm going to jump in on the live chat from my tablet.
Your husband is waving at you from the back of the room.
No picture.
No picture? Well, let's check it out. It says it's on there, so let's see what we got. Christine K is here. It says we're live.
I swear I didn't take up all your wireless.
Right?
I could have tried, but I didn't.
Oh, there. See?
Hello.
There. It just was a little delay on getting it started. There we go. Okay. Sue says hi. Here, I'm gonna jump into live chat, make sure we got everybody. Paula. Hi, Paula. How are you doing tonight? Laura's here. Margaret. Christine K. Yeah, I think it's just a delay. They're saying hello, Jeff.
I will log in.
Sandy's here. Hi, Chris. How are you doing tonight? Look, I brought a friend. Oh, good. I'm glad you can see us now. So basically, we're going to just give it a little time for some people to get in. And I figure we will just kind of introduce who's here tonight. And are you still hearing it? I'm hearing an echo somewhere. Are you guys hearing an echo at all?
My sound on that one's now down.
But he's not in YouTube, is he?
No.
I think it's this one.
I thought it was that one.
This one has to be on. Mine has to be on because that's what we're streaming on.
But that's what I'm
And then I
hearing.
think we're hearing is this. So I don't know. Is this your volume right there? We could turn it down anymore.
It's all the way down all the way.
Okay. Well, we're going
It's muted. I'm hearing it off the speaker
You're
though.
hearing an echo. Well, yeah, because it's your speaker here. Is the echo too bad? If I turn mine down a little bit, does that help any? I'm sorry, I have one thing that kind of bounces. Yes, there's
You told me not to bounce the phone.
I know, Dawn. Quit touching the phone, Barb. There, I got nothing but troubles here. Hi, Mary. How are you?
They just don't know what kind of trouble
No. So, okay, let me know. It's good now. That helps a little bit. Okay, cool. As long as you can still hear us, so the echo's not too bad. That's what we do. So, don't hear it anymore. Perfect. Okay, well, Mr. Walk, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm John Walk. I started out in the antique business in the late 1970s. Fell in love with Fenton glass shortly after. Found out over the years while I was collecting and dealing in it, there wasn't that much information out about it, even though there's some reference book coming out. 1995, I started out on my first book. It was published in 1998. It was the Big Book of Fenton Glass. And after that, I ended up doing 8 other books on Fenton Glass. They're doing research on them. My big love was the 1940 to 1960 time period in Fenton, with the opalescence overlays and crest. I got put it nicely, I got hornswoggled into extending it on out to 2000 on the general line items, and then I also did books on Fenton milk glass, on the special orders, that the items that they made for other individuals, other companies, and on the Fenton rarities and whimsies and sample items.
So how many books total have you written?
9 books altogether.
9 books. Okay. All right.
As I say in Ferris Bueller, 9 books.
That's right. You're
right.
I'm going to swing this around for one moment. Are you ready? This is Barb. Here she is. She's sitting over here. She's got the ring light in her face. So you want to introduce
She's
yourself?
lying right now.
Deer in the headlights. I'm Barb. I'm from Cowgirl Class, and I've been playing in the antique glass business for, I don't know, 10, 20 years, somewhere in there. And that's pretty much it. I play with glass. I play with glass with Becky a lot. We're ornery. That sums it up.
In case you're wondering, I was a baby whenever I started out in the entry.
Yeah, that's it.
I was 18 years old.
Well, that is pretty much a
Yeah.
baby. That is true.
That's when Becky and I were toddlers.
I guess you were born for sure.
All right then. So I have my email in like normal right down here, down below my name. Barb's got her email on the other screen where we're going to be showing the glass. So basically what we do is we'll put up several pieces of glass, tell you about it, give you a starting offer point for it. This is how we've been selling glass on Facebook for almost 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
We started in January of 2020, didn't we? Wow.
It's gonna be our second anniversary in a couple of weeks. We'll have our anniversary sale.
So John and Barb will tell us about the glass. We'll put up the price so you can know if you're interested in making an offer. The making an offer is just like what we do on YouTube, excuse me. You know, Facebook, YouTube. There's two, they both have two initials and I always switch them around in my head.
The face you.
Yep. And it's we do usually do where you can see here on the board where we have increments of bidding. I don't know if it's going to be able to show up as well, but it's easier to go by $2 and $5, which we can kind of judge as we go along as everybody catches up. We won't be like, no, you can only bid this. We will just kind of roll with it since we know we're bringing a new format a little bit to YouTube as to how we normally sell. So, I guess we might as well just jump in. We got 26 people in the room right now. Yes, John has books. We will be showing those throughout as we go. Basically, what was the plan on the books? You will do shipping out of books?
Yeah, I have books on hand back at home. I can give my email, or you can get in touch with me on Facebook. It's John Walk. There are several other John Walks, and it's WALK is the way you spell the name. But you might want to punch in Mulberry Grove, Illinois. That causes it to come right up automatically whenever you're doing the search.
Yeah, Liz, I know there's an echo. We've been trying to figure it out, and we've kind of gone as low as we possibly can. And I don't want to go too much lower because then we won't be hearing us at all. How's the echo now? Is it any better? I've put my device all the way to nothing. Barb's turned hers down. I've turned mine down as far as I can, but that's what we're streaming on.
My big mouth.
Well, that probably doesn't
I didn't
help.
say it this time.
Hi, Barbie. How are you doing tonight? Let's see who else came in. Liz came in, and it's better. Okay, so if there's anything about that we need to adjust, please just speak up in the chat because I can't hear, because I've turned everything down so I can't hear it. The one good thing about Jeff watching downstairs is he sees the lag and he also can hear it, how it's going, so he can come and give us some direction if there's an issue technically. So, but if that's a little bit better, that'll be great. Hi, Genevieve. How are you doing tonight?
When we go into the land of pixelation.
Right. So hopefully that'll be good. So I tried to ship out 8 boxes I had ready, but when I turned into the post office, they had it marked off as a crime scene. So,
and it wasn't from Becky dumping too many boxes.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me. So the boxes I was going to drop off today for my 12 days of Christmas are going to be another day delayed. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, it's pretty much the same way that we do it on YouTube. We just have it's just tweaked a little bit different. So hopefully it won't be too hard to follow. So do you want to put up a start on this one? And they've brought it, guys. They've brought the glass. This is the kind of stuff we normally have at shows. We
got some fun stuff that probably some of you guys have never seen. Kelsey Murphy Cameo glass, neat pieces of Fenton, Viking. I don't know what all else is in there.
Yeah.
A couple neat pieces of Blanco if you like mid-century mud, contemporary glass.
Yeah, and we are experienced shippers of glass, so we know how to pack it. We know how to make it safe. As long as they don't run it over with forklifts, we're usually pretty good. Yes.
Yes.
So
Believe me, they try.
they do. Right. I'll try that. Okay. So this group is going to start out starting out offer of $75, and then it'll be for high offer gets first choice, and then we go to the backup to the next person. So if you want to tell us about what you got up there, we'll start from there.
Okay, the blue one is silver turquoise. That was made in the mid 1950s for several years.
ABCs or no?
It's actually, they call it pastel milk glass. And the other one on the other end they made at the same time is silver rose, and it's pink milk glass.
And why they call it silver is because
It's got the crest on it, just like silver crest.
Oh yeah, you might have to go back to the one of ABCs of Fenton. That's
the crust refers to the outside layer of applied glass that's around the edge of the piece.
okay.
And Fenton was the only one at the time in the United States that was capable and had the knowledge to make that type of a crest. There on the glass there. The one in the middle is ivory crest. It's kind of interesting story. It was introduced in 1941. It was made as a custard based glass. It will glow with a black light. And the interesting part, whenever World War II came in and Pearl Harbor occurred, they discontinued it immediately because they was needing uranium that was used to make the color for the war effort.
Okay. So I'm going to be watching the comments and see if anybody has any other questions as we're going. So did you give us a time period of when these were produced?
The blue and the pink one was about 1956 to 58. The ivory crest one was 1941 to right at the end of 1942.
Okay.
Fenton had a habit of coming out with colors and making colors or treatments, and they would only last sometimes for a year or 2 years, which makes them more highly desirable now because they didn't have that long of a distribution to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And even right up to the end, there were some patterns and some colors that was not out there either due to lagging sales or maybe due to having production troubles and making them to begin with.
And why don't you tell a little bit about how the crusts are applied and how the handles are applied?
Yeah, this
Okay.
one's about
Done with
8.5 inches tall. The blue is about 7.5.
That's about the same for this.
Pink is about the same.
Whenever they would make the basket itself, the colored part of the basket, they would take a thin line or rod of molded glass and apply it to the edge, and that's how the crest was formed. And pretty well the same way with the handle on the basket, they would attach it on one side, loop it over, and patch it and seal it on the other side.
Yeah, so this side has the
And this side right here is where they would break it off the punny rod that and then they would have each of what they called the handlers that was in charge of making the handles would have their own mark on the end of the putty.
kind of like a seal, like a wax seal.
Like a wax seal.
Yeah. So here, this one has a little, you can see the different, like it looks like a flower.
And at any one time during that time period from the 1940s to 1960s at Fenton, they might have had 10 to 12 different handlers because they had so much demand for glass and different handlers to making the baskets there.
And the pink does fire because of the opalescence in the glass. It's got that ring of fire to it.
Well, one interesting thing, I never have ever studied it too long, but right during the middle of the production of the silver turquoise and silver rose, they completely changed their milk glass formula. And I would imagine that the prior 1957, and that the prior to before 1957 both colors would have more fire than whenever they changed the formula, and it was the milk glass was a dead white without any fire.
You're much more opaque,
Yeah,
right?
mhm.
Afterwards.
Right.
We can share that in some of the plain milk glass
Yeah, sure.
later on. So ready to swap?
Are there any Fenton reproductions or fakes that we should be aware of?
There is a few, if you kind of study, join the Fenton groups on Facebook, and they will have posts about them on some of their files and pictures there on their page. They will have pictures of some of the deals. After 1970, all the Fenton was marked with the Fenton logo. Fenton wrote out in a script in an oval, or a F, script F in an oval. Prior to 1970, show them the bottom of the basket.
Yep.
Fenton was blowed from the top.
Sure. Can you reach it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So whenever they was making this piece, the punny rod was attached up here.
Can't see it where you're at.
Oh, whoops, I'm sorry. The punny rod was attached up here. They would break it off, put the crimp on
Here.
Yeah. And everything. So the bottom of the basket will always be smooth like this.
Yeah. Okay.
And most other pieces, there's a few exceptions in that in Fenton, but most of the time it will always have a smooth pommel, or always have a smooth bottom. They don't have a pommel mark like with the European art glass and some of the other art glass do.
What's up?
I've got 4 if you want to scoop
Oh,
that one over
sure.
here.
We can move over and share the space.
We all share space.
So yeah, if you have questions, you can throw them out there. If comments, let us know if there's something you're interested in, and then we'll go from there too. So, what do we have as the start on these ones?
Okay, we have Red
85.
Carnival. That was done in the 1990s. Don't remember what pattern they called the flower on it. The other one is that chiffon pink?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that was done after 2000. That's the funny thing about it. I'm like a friend of mine that has dealt in Fenton for years and years. As it gets newer, I get dumber on a lot of the patterns and the
They
colors.
made so many different colors, and then they changed the names too, right?
Right. It would look just exactly the same, but they tweaked the formula a little bit to either make it a little bit lighter or a little bit duller.
And this one was hand painted by, I saw it a minute ago. Where did it go? Oh, there it is, right here. C.L. Hull, Hull. And the ruby was hand painted by, inside there it is, S. Fisher. So more of the, I'd say 80s on, they started putting the signatures on their pieces.
Right. Yeah, they started whenever they started decorating in the 1970s. For a while, they didn't put any signatures on, but they decided to let the artist, whatever artist would paint a certain piece, put their name on it. This one is called Sunset on Cameo. It was done in the very late 70s, early 80s. It's supposed to be a barn and snowfall right at sunset.
This one was hand painted by Delma C. Hill.
A lot of times you can tell the earlier ones because most of the time it would be.
You're gonna have to show that one.
They would sign it like Sue F. or S. Fisher, and they wouldn't put their whole names on it for the sake of time production of writing their whole names out. The ruby is Mary Gregory. It was done about 2005. They did a whole series of Mary Gregory scenes with the little girl in the stark white from about 1995 on up till the closing in 2000, on up till the time they stopped making glass in 2011.
Okay, I have 2 questions. First of all, Mary Gregory. When you say it's Mary Gregory, is that just refers to the style in which
The
it is
style of the
painted?
painting, yes, the style of the painting.
Can you hold the base up here so we can? Then I need you to explain to the people because sometimes I can't. What I mean, most everybody calls this Amberina because it goes.
It is ruby.
So why
Fenton
does
never
it do
could
that?
make a very good ruby. Some glass companies was capable of doing good ruby. Fenton would always, Fenton's most of the time always came out more amberinish.
And you can see now, I'm holding up the black light to it. You can see it glowing, and that's the cadmium, is my understanding, in the ruby color that makes it glow that color. So here's the base.
Sometimes they would get more orange in the ruby, and actually it would turn out to be more of a pretty color.
And why it turns out that way is ruby is a heat sensitive glass.
We saw today a piece of
Moon and star.
Moon and Stars that was, I don't know whether it was supposed to be amberina or was supposed to be ruby, but it was the most brilliant orange I have ever seen. It was beautiful.
On this ruby,
It was
on this red one, it has like she's carving a pumpkin for Halloween. She's got a couple pumpkins down here.
I think, if I remember right, that series that one came out of was called The Four Seasons. They would have something, I think the winter one was something related to Christmas. This was the fall one, then they had the summer and the spring. Each of them was different colors. I think the winter one was emerald green. I know there was one that was cobalt blue.
I think the winter
Was it?
And then this is red ruby also, and it's got flowers painted.
But this is ruby carnival glass.
Correct. Got the carnival finish.
It's been sprayed with the gaskets to get the carnival
Ruby glass.
texture and finish on it.
We're gonna have to go slow on this. I know. I don't know what the
By
deal
finding
is with the
the
echo.
Then another thing a lot of people don't realize, Fenton was the company in 1910 that actually created carnival glass.
So originally, back in the day, they came up with the design of carnival glass.
Yeah, they came up with the formula for carnival glass to spray the gases onto the glass to get it that real pretty oil slick texture.
Okay.
But that's because they were imitating Tiffany. And
Yeah, they was trying to imitate Tiffany and Steuben and some of the other companies.
Okay. All right. Because
and then Northwood and Dugan and some other companies all followed suit after Fenton.
How's the echo, guys? Just as we're going here too, because Jeff's saying it's echoing again. I can't figure out any other way to change an echo because I've muted everything I can mute. I apologize. So,
You do have two bids on here too.
I see that. I have Chris at 85 and Barbie was at 86. January 3rd. Okay. So Chris, if anybody else would like to be in, it needs to be 86 or higher, and we're going to do the going once, just like normal on, I think they've kind of brought that over from several different formats. The versus counting down is a little less tedious than counting down. So doesn't seem too bad right now, Paula. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. ATM doesn't seem as bad. ATM. It doesn't seem as bad. ARM, bad. ATM. Paula, I'm sorry. The autocorrect and
at the moment.
Oh, got it. Good thing we got Barb here.
Now some of these abbreviations, I'll see them on Facebook. What?
No. Yeah, Paula's fast though, because she's on her tab on like a computer.
I'm learning on a lot of this stuff, technology and everything, like a lot of other people, because I never did get into it at the time it came out.
Right? I know. My mom, I think the first time I put LMT for like, let me know, she's like, what does that mean?
Well, you heard the joke about the person that died and the lady, she didn't know what LOL meant, and she thought it meant a lot of love. And
sometimes it does. All right, we're going to be sold here. We're going to allow for a little bit of lag if anybody else wants to be in. Hi, Goody Mom. How are you tonight?
Those are four beautiful fairy lights. If you're into fairy lights at all, they're really all
I have Barbie really currently nice. At 86, so I'm going to sell it and see what comes up.
I personally collect the sunset pattern. I've got just about all the pieces in sunset. I've always loved that pattern.
Oh, you know what? Miss Paula, can I employ you to help me with the solds at least? Because mine's going to be incorrect because of the lag, because I'm putting it in real time, and then the other thing's going to be lagging in the comments. Will you be around? Would you be willing to do that? Sure. Okay. Someone needs to see. That's the thing is, Goody Mom, the only thing I can think of is if we need to take yours off and like mute it altogether. Oh, wait. Try that. Okay.
Did that do it?
Did that do it? Did it fix it?
I don't hear the echo anymore.
I
off
don't
that.
hear it either. Genius. You know what I did?
You turned the mic off.
Turned off the mic.
And we had that discussion. We're like, no, we need the mic.
I
We didn't need the
know.
mic.
We
Do
don't
we
need
still
the
have
mic.
sound otherwise? Oh.
We have sound on
Okay.
mine. Yes, we do. Okay.
It
will
all
tell
becomes
people-
clear now.
Yay, we did it. Good.
I will tell people I
Woo-hoo. Oh my
broadcast, I majored in broadcasting communications and started in college in 1979. So it has, all of this has changed so much since I was started out.
Right. Barbie, would you like to tell us what choice you would like since you have the highest offer? Which A, B, C, or D is your
Or
choice?
all.
Yes, you can have any or all of those for $86 a piece. And I will write it down and I will give Barb a thing, and you've got something picked out for the next time around. And then Miss Chris. Good. Awesome. I'm glad that worked. So Barbie, do you have a choice? Let me know, and I'm going to double check on here. And then Miss Chris, you will be my backup. And for us, we operate like a regular, auction house, and we're offering the choice at the high bid. That's just how it works at regular places. So that's how we do it here. So if you're interested in a choice for 86, Miss Chris, after Barbie makes hers, then you can put yours in the chat also. Thank you. Oh, Barb wants the pumpkin, please. So D.
That's a good choice. That's a pretty good.
That is a neat one.
So Ruby with pumpkins. Thank you, Miss Barbie.
And I'm sure all of you guys know this, but especially with Fenton lights, because there's some differences in weight. To avoid cracking, you always want to use one of the electric tea lights in there,
Yeah.
not a real one.
And they are so pretty whenever you have like 10 or 12 scattered around the living room on a dark evening.
Okay, and Miss Chris would like C, please. The cabin on Cameo. Wonderful. And then what happens is we leave it, and then it is open. Those were our two bidders. So then we usually will open it up. If anyone wants A or B, we'll take the first person in the comment for $86. If not, we'll give it a second and we'll rotate it out. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it. Okay, so I got that and I got that. So if you would like, we'll just rotate it like we normally do.
Okay.
And then, and if we see the comments, we'll get it all written down, and you can start your next lot.
You just touch it that time.
I know, I have a
That was
spooky lamp.
bizarre. And we'll just swap that out.
Thank you. All right, I need to put fairy light on here, otherwise I will not know what they are. Okay. Miss Chris, we'll just do, I'll do the invoicing since it's on my channel as we normally do. And, I'll send out the invoices. If you haven't sent me your invoicing information,
The Dealey
That
Bobbers
didn't
and the what's
sound right.
this?
but send your invoice information to, oh, I'm doing it way backwards, right there, to vintagevikingtreasures@gmail.com. And I'll put out the invoices, and they should come out probably within about 48 hours, because it'll take a little bit of time to get it sorted for this one. So, perfect. Are you ready?
Ricketts
Okay.
fees.
I will make those while John talks about this. You have the starting price on this. We need to go a little bit closer. They can't see
Okay.
it.
I wasn't sure how many I was going to
And you
put up.
probably should put your price, your start in here.
Okay.
So,
Since I can't see any of the pictures on the things right now.
I know.
Okay, this
Barb's
one
flying
is one of
blind.
Fenton bridesmaid dolls. They started making those in the 1980s. What company did they copy that doll
I
off?
believe that was off the Lufton Mall.
Yeah, off the left. Yeah, you're right. Off the left in the birthday doll mold. They copy, and actually it was a direct copy, and they ended up in a lawsuit over it. And they finally reached an agreement with Lefton where they made them some dolls and kind of got everything settled out. And then they continued to make the bridesmaids dolls on down the line. They did them in a variety of colors and a variety of painted decorations there. That one is opal. I guess it was opal iridized. It is carnival. It does have the carnival glass on it with violets painted on that. That's one I never really have ever seen before.
And if anybody wants it, you better get it fast because John likes his violets on white.
Oh, you like this one.
The basket is autumn gold. Was that one of their Christmas decorations?
I don't think so. I think this was a spring decoration
Okay.
this year.
because remind me
It's
of
the
some of the
orchid.
Christmas decorations too. It was from after 2000. Very pretty shape. I think that that mark was just an F in the on the oval.
Seems like it's another company's mold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whenever you see a piece of Fenton that has the logo on it, and it's just an F, that means that the mold itself that made the piece came from another company, and they later on bought out that mold. The pink doll.
I have one question
What's
here
that?
when we talk about that. So that's specifically the script F in the oval is
Yeah.
for anybody else's mold.
Right.
It doesn't matter what time period that they made them in.
Yeah, and that doesn't always run to par because they bought out molds from Paden City in the 1950s, like the Happiness Bird and several other molds. And later on, they started making them for themselves, but they had them so long before they started marking their own items that it just, in the same way with the Alley Cat, it originally came from Tiffin.
So it's like everything. There's an exception.
Yeah, there's like everything. There's an exception to it there
Okay,
and everything.
go carry on. Thank you.
Okay, the pink doll, same way. It came out after 2000. I don't know whether that's chiffon pink or whether that is.
I think that's Sunset Stretch.
Okay, that pink confuses me sometimes.
Well, there's so many.
Sunset Stretch is a little bit more of a coral color.
Yeah.
I can always tell chiffon because it's so bright. Whenever you see it plain without any decoration or without it being iridized, it's so bright pink it almost hurts your eyes.
Okay, so do we have any special artists on these ones at all? This one is D. Barber.
Diane Barber.
And this one is M. Young. And what's our
That one
last
I'm not familiar with.
Well, there's the logo. Show the logo right there, too. You have to pull it down a little bit more right there.
That's the inside.
Yeah, well, you can see the logo right
Okay.
there.
Oh, there you go.
Trying to get it out of there it is, out of the ring light. Okay, there you go.
And then the paint. I cannot.
You can't read it?
Let's see if I can see it.
It's like a K.
KS. Looks like a, almost looks like a G for the last name. You gotta get out the
Boy, she was really flagrant with her signature. We'll put it
I know, right? Oh, well, here's another thing. There's this F in here. What does that
That was
mean?
probably for a special
See that right
deal.
there?
It could have been like a
printed
glass
on.
messenger piece or something
Okay.
like that. I'm not familiar with that one. I don't know where it actually came out, when it came out, and where it came out. I know it's late 90s on into the 2000s.
Bushert? Busherk? Busher? Bush? I don't know. Something like that.
What's interesting on some of the artists, some of them would be in there for maybe 6 to 8 months painting. They didn't like it. They quit.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them would be in there, and it was almost like a painting place. They would end up divorcing the one person that they was married to whenever they started in, and they would marry somebody else, and they would take that married name, or they go back to the maiden name.
Yeah, yeah. So the names of the artists.
Sometimes some of the different artists had been married 2 to 3 different times, and
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
So you almost had to keep a tally sheet of who was who there a lot of times.
I think there's somewhere out there a list of artists.
Yeah, there
with their
is.
initials and stuff.
If the Fenton Fanatic site is still up on the internet, there is a list of the artists on that. I do know that.
NFGS. That stands for National
Fenton
Fenton
Society.
Glass Society.
Yeah, National Fenton Glass Society.
Okay. And that's one of the conventions we usually go to.
And that's a very good group to belong to. It has a wonderful Facebook page.
Yeah.
There, and they're always having somebody to post something really unique, odd, and unusual. Just being on there and watching the other people's posts, you can learn a lot.
Okay, and I have the information on those 2 bridesmaids. So the iridized opal with the violets, that there are only 100 of those made. They were made for a company called Rosso Glass out of Pennsylvania, and I believe those were made in 2008. The Sunset Iridized Bridesmaid was made for QVC in 2002. Hand painted by K.S. Buskirk.
Mhm.
And there you go.
Hi.
And one thing I have always said with the items, especially 100 that was issued 100 and under, and a lot of times I've always figured 500 and under. If you see one of them like that, I always figured I was lucky if I could find one that was issued out at 100 and under, especially.
We should know this person. A Fenton 460.
Hey, Fenton 460.
Hello, Miss Ann.
I know that lady.
One of my favorite people.
How are you doing tonight?
Love you.
So, which was your first book? Well, you want to switch those out?
Yeah, this was my first
This
book.
was the first one. I'm
Yeah.
going to show this while it's going to be. I'm going to try.
your
This
lovely
originally
assistant.
came out in 1998, in summer of 1998. It was the first book to actually cover and pretty well have pictures of all the line items that was made from the 1940 to 1970 time period
That's too tall. Here we go.
there. And that was my goal to begin with, to get everything pictured, because there were several other books out and they would just show a few pieces in each line, but they didn't show all the shapes and all the different colors.
Mhm.
And that was my goal to begin with.
And I mean, all your books are full color, right?
Yeah, all my books is full colored.
Okay. So, are all your books still in print?
All my books are still in print.
Okay.
Yes, this one sold out of the first edition within 6 months. Went into the second edition, and ultimately went into the fifth edition.
Yeah. And so, how much does this one run?
This one is $20.
Okay. So basically, probably the easiest way to do it, if you're interested in a book from John, again, go ahead and either, it's probably just easier to send me an email, since my email is right there, and I can send John a list, and he will invoice for the books because they're all at his house.
Because I do it on Square
Mm-hmm.
there, because I do antique shows full time too, and it's just easier to do Square than to do PayPal whenever you do an antique show.
Okay. All right. Cool. Hi, Janice. How are you doing tonight? All right. What's next?
Oh, this is a fun one.
This is fantastic.
This is absolutely beautiful. This had been in our collection for a long time. This piece was made by Kelsey Murphy.
Just
This is
starting off with
on a Pilgrim glass blank.
What's your starting offer on it?
Oh, 300.
Okay.
This was a Pilgrim glass blank. Kelsey Murphy came to Pilgrim in the early 1990s, started doing sand carve and cameo glass. She became the foremost cameo glass artist in the United States. Pilgrim closed up in the early 2000s. She was kind of working on some blanks that she had bought off of them and they had left over. Fenton, later on, about 2006, saw her work. They asked her to come and design some cameo glass for them. She even became more of a so-called household name after she went over to Fenton. She made some of the prettiest designs for Fenton that I think I've ever seen. But she was known and she had learned how to do the sand carved and cameo glass. She worked with a lot of different themes, animals, fairies, like this
Do you want to
is.
hold that up closer, or
Yes.
can I do it? Either
Can
way?
you get it?
I think so.
This is done on ruby, and it was cut down. The sand carve is very interesting to do because you actually stick the piece into a box with windows in it, and you're working on with the grinding wheel to cut down to the design with gloves on, and you're outside of the box. The piece is inside of the box, so you're not inhaling the dust.
Yeah, and you can see that this is the outside layer of the glass. I can see there's a shiny layer on that. This was at least done in 3 different layers.
Yeah, that's one that's done in 3 different layers, and they would work that until they could get it was on the sides, like on the fairies, was almost 3-dimensional.
It does a little bit, but not really. So do we know who made this piece to begin with? Because it's got a...
That was made by Pilgrim Glass.
Okay, so this...
That was a piece. Kelsey Murphy, she did all the glass either at Pilgrim or the ones that she designed at Fenton. And the nice thing about the Fenton pieces, they was designed by Kelsey. She did some of them, and her partner, Robert Bocap, did some of them, but all the other ones was done by Chris Carpenter. And she has become a pretty well-known cameo artist in her own right since Fenton has stopped production of actual glass.
Yeah, and the thing is with sand carving, sometimes it just blows
It
the
will
glass,
just
right?
explode while you're working on it.
And that's why it's very time consuming. It's a lot of skill involved. The glass itself is very temperamental.
Very temperamental.
And then the more layers you do, the more risk basically.
The risk you take of it blowing up on you. I think Kelsey finally got to 10 or 12 different colored layers of glass.
It's about 7 inches tall.
And she had several different people that was capable of Pilgrim blowing those pieces of glass. Sometimes that piece of glass that she was working on whenever she started in with all those layers was 40 to 50 pounds.
Oh yeah. And about 5 1/4 across the widest part of the vase, LJ. My question. I lost it. So are these marked or signed? Do they usually?
Some of them will be, that one isn't.
Okay. So we don't know how many she made in this.
No, and some of them will be, some of them was originally a limited edition where they would be like 1 of 50. Most of the time, they was like on each piece, they was like less than 100.
Okay. And you can see like the shininess of the glass still on the inside. And then we have a special secret for cleaning this, right? Is this similar to like the Favrine and stuff too?
Yeah, you could use Armor All on it there and it would clean up.
Probably what I would do is use Armor All on, I'd wash the whole thing, use Armor All on your shiny, and then on this first layer of relief, and leave your back very matte.
Yeah.
And that's going to give you the best effect.
And I will confess that whenever I left, that was in the house and in the den, and it is dusty.
I know. It's as everything. The dirt is free
It's
and
genuine.
authenticates it.
Yes, this is genuine Illinois dirt.
That's right.
We only have Colorado dirt usually.
Right.
This is exotic stuff, man.
We've imported this dirt.
Yeah.
So, all right. Do you have a new round for us then?
I do.
I mean, you don't see a lot of these sand carved pieces.
No, they don't pop up very often.
No.
Since Anne's on with us, she may have some things to add about these two pieces.
Okay, you let me know. Start, please.
Okay, we're going to start these guys off at 50.
Okay.
These are the Mandarin Red. Fenton started doing Mandarin Red in...
They're Anne and John poured these.
What's that?
Anne and John poured these.
I hadn't got to that yet.
Okay.
I was talking about color.
I know.
But Fenton started making the color Mandarin Red in the late 20s, early 1930s. They brought it back out in 2005. It didn't come out quite like what they had intended on, but it still made a neat color. John and Ann Fenton, then they're no relation to the Fenton Art Glass Company, but they do have a glass furnace. They make their own glass, and it would be Fenton Collectibles, and its sign, their logo is a crown.
That one has the NFGS mouse.
Yeah, that one is the NFGS mouse. Every year, the NFGS group will come out with a different color of mouse. They own that mold. Since Fenton stopped making their own glass, they have went to Massa, Fenton Collectibles. They might have even went to Blanco one year. I'm not sure. I know they have had different trouble finding different places to have it made. But,
okay, so can you tell us about why this looks like a slag? Is this one a slag or is it a heat sensitive glass?
That's what I was going to ask.
It would be a heat sensitive glass. That color, it would have more of a slag effect, but it was the Mandarin Red that came out in the 20s, the Chinese Yellow, the Periwinkle Blue, the Jade. They was all known as the Jade type glass. They was all Opex, and all of them will kind of have. They wasn't exactly heat sensitive, but they will have a slaggy effect to
They
them.
are heat sensitive.
Okay, I didn't think that.
Mandarin Red, that's why I was wondering if those were the Mandarin formula or if those were a separate Ruby Slag formula.
Maybe
And then
Ann Fenton could tell.
She said, oh, okay. So Ann says they made the mouse for the NFGS, so their logo isn't on it.
Right.
So it's marked for NFGS.
What year did they make that?
Yeah.
What year did you guys make that, Ann?
2012. It's on the
2012. Okay. And so I would imagine that the hippo was done right at about the same time.
Oh, because it's got a big 12 right there on it.
Yeah.
But it's
So I knew.
really hard doing it backwards on a second camera, can I just say?
You're doing the Ginger Rogers.
I am.
You're doing everything except backwards
Like,
and in
That's
high
one
heels.
nice thing, and I always appreciate somebody like Ann with a lot of times more knowledge than what I do to be on a deal like this with me, because they have all of us glass dealers love to share information with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to help out our collectors and our customers by sharing out the information, because the better informed the customers are, the better customers they become.
Was the hippo made the same year? Is that what we were saying too?
We think so.
Okay. All right.
And Anne should have some input on that if
Anne is
she's not.
saying that the mouse was an accident. They were looking to make ruby, but they did not have the temperature correct.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of cute like that.
I love him.
Mm-hmm. So, and if you follow my channel and saw my video from the Alabama show, Anne and John are the couple that I showed that were blowing the ornaments. That's her husband John, who's blowing the ornaments, and Anne was inside with the boot.
They make some
Awesome
absolutely
stuff.
beautiful glass ornaments. They make the glass pumpkins.
Yes, she's saying
Just a
that
little
the
bit of
hippo was
everything.
2014 or so.
Okay.
That's right, a happy accident, just like those little trees. Mm-hmm.
So John has become an extraordinary glass artist.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the last 10, 12
He's so
years.
much fun to watch.
Yeah.
It really is fun. So, all right. Do you have another group for us? Or
I do. I
another?
think we're going to do a single next.
Okay. Starting offer.
You tell me, John. Okay. He's so subtle. You can just say it. I promise.
I think could probably hear you.
It's our stage whispers here, folks.
Chris, are you interested in B? It had to start, what do we
50.
have on it? 50 on it. So if you want to give me a yes for sure on that, I will. Yes. Chris wants B, please. The mouse at 50.
Good choice. That's a neat one.
I know. I was just thinking, he could go live with my Mandarin in my 1930s cabinet. This always happens, doesn't it, when we sell it? I've just made the decision. I'm like, hey, nobody wants him. He's going to.
Yes, Goody Ma. It is just like pushing a button on John. It's like, okay, what's next, John?
Yep.
And he spits it right out.
This was done in the late 1990s, whenever they did that.
I believe so.
That series. Ever since the mid 1970s, Fenton had done a limited edition or limited production Christmas series, and they would come out with a different. And each series, they would come out with a different scene every year. And this was the nativity scene there. I don't know if on the original tag whether they had the name Birth of the Savior. I can see it right here.
Yeah.
There. And they would bring out several different plate pieces in that series. Usually a plate, a bell, and a fairy light, and usually one other larger piece. This year was the hurricane lamp. They had came out with regular lamps. Sometimes they would do bases at different years there, but it would just make a nice grouping to have on a table over Christmas there. I thought that was such a unique color choice, doing that on cobalt.
And it's a satin finish too.
And this was a so-called barn find, because I found this on the way out here to Colorado a couple weeks ago.
John.
So you never know what you might find whenever you're on the road.
You just never know. Okay, let's see. So it's got a sticker inside there, right there, and it says retired Fenton, handmade in USA. And then this is the original then Fenton gift shop sticker, right? Basically. Same with what's inside. And then it says
125 and 1750.
159. Yeah, 120. No, just 25.
Oh, 25. Okay.
Number 25 out of
2001.
1750. Hand painted by P.
Pam Hayhurst.
Hayhurst.
And she is an artist doing independent work right now.
Now, almost these bases are almost as hard to find as the whole thing, right?
Right.
And they've been used for a lot of things over the years. One advanced collector just had an epiphany the other day, realizing that the milk glass bases from the 1930s also go on the bottom of the Blue Ridge Bowl.
Okay. So, and then this 0 inside the Fenton logo. Can you?
That whenever they started doing the Fenton logo in the 1970s, it didn't have no decade mark. In the 80s, it was an 8. In the 90s, it was a 9. 2000s, they started with a 0, and then they made glass up to 2011, and it would. I think it was a 1. I don't think that they deviated off their set deal there. Did they?
Did they go to a 1?
Yeah, they went to 2011 because it was July of 2011 whenever they stopped.
I mean, they wouldn't be
Production of glass.
redoing a
I
number.
don't know that I've ever noticed what it says on
I
this.
think they
Yeah.
just stayed at 0 on some of
That's
I
what
don't
I
think
was
I've ever
thinking.
seen a 1, but that's
Okay.
not because I've seen all the Fenton.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. That's why I was asking you guys.
oh, sure.
Because you get into the newer stuff a whole lot more
Yes.
than what I do.
We're the experts.
We do see it a lot.
Well, that's why we feed off of each other and we
Yeah.
ask each other questions all
I
the
know.
time.
I mean, I've seen a lot of the 9s and a lot of the 8s. The 0s I don't see as much, but I don't recall seeing
Well,
the
I'll
1.
tell you all of you guys one thing, and I have noticed this buying glass all through the 90s and 2000s. I don't see as much 70s stuff as I do the 40s, 50s, and 60s stuff. I
Mhm.
see less 80s stuff than I do the 70s stuff. I see less 90s stuff than I do the 70s and 80s stuff. I rarely ever come across a piece out in the wild after 2000, but it does happen. Most of it went into collections as soon as it was bought, as whenever it was new, and it has stayed in collections. If it comes out, it goes to a big catalog auction. It's not
Yep.
going to be like
No, because it's not like, so like if you're a Fenton collector, you collect Fenton.
Yeah.
And when those estates go to auction, they auction off like the entire collection, not just 1 or 2 pieces.
yeah, they have them in lots, and it's not going to be like you go into a shop. Oh, here's a piece here, and I'm just so happy I found it. You ain't going to find it.
Right? Okay, Sandy. So are you interested in this book? Because we're going to keep showing all the other books. So this one that we showed first was the Big Book of Fenton, and that one is a $20 book. So
And if you want interested in any of the other books,
yep,
get in touch with Becky. She'll
We're gonna-
gladly give you my email, and I can correspond with you that
As we
way.
go here. So what was your next one?
Okay.
Might as well do
The
them in
next
order.
one, the next one, we redid and expanded the Big Book of Fenton. It was the Fenton Compendium, mostly because the guy that I had hired to do pictures, we had created difficulties and had to start in from scratch again. And there is a lot more different items that I couldn't get a hold of. It was so funny whenever I did that book. There was items in the first book that I couldn't get pictures of for one reason or the other, and there was items in this book that wasn't in the first book.
Okay, so he has 9 book titles. So the first one we showed was the Big Book. This is Compendium
1940 to 70.
40 to 70. So these are the titles are which you kind of got to tell us which title you want. So Sandy, you just let me know which title you want, and we're going to keep working through the pile because we have a pile right here under John's nose of all of his other titles that he brought with us as well. So Christine emailed
And
us.
all
That's
these books came out between 1998 and 2004.
What is this? What's this price on this one?
It's $30 on it.
This is a $30 one, and it's a hardback.
Yeah, the hardbacks are all 30 and the paperbacks is all 20.
Okay. Yes, Dolores, he's just a fountain of information. I'm going to put this one here because we've already done it. We'll just have to kind of share the tabletop. Here we go. So do you have a new item for us, Miss Barb?
I do.
Okay, what you got next?
Play with sand carving again.
Both books that we've shown so far. Okay, I'll just keep a running list of books, and then if people email me, we'll cross-reference and all the things and make sure everybody's got what they want. Thank you.
This piece is a piece of Blinkel glass. Blinkel is made in Milton, West Virginia. They did a lot, and they started out in the in the 1800s making stained glass windows, but on into the 1940s and 50s, they went into the mid-century mod look. They have the most varied inventory of colors that any glass company ever had. there. This one is probably was done in 1970s, 1980s. It's very unusual because somebody did a sand carving on it, which Blanco never did have a sand carving department.
You got a starting offer for me?
200.
200.
Okay, I guessed wrong.
Okay. So this one's on Blanco. You're right. That looks like a Blanco piece I have right over there. That's clean.
Yeah, that is a beautiful piece. I just found that here just recently. I went into glass collector's heaven right before I came out here in St. Louis, close to where I live. They had an estate sale.
Thanks, Ian.
I almost didn't go over to it because I was getting ready to leave for here. I thought, oh, well, let's check it out. And I ended up buying probably about 75, 80 pieces of glass.
Oh, see how you are?
I almost had to refinance myself to be able to come out here.
Sorry. I forgot that it was too high because we're so close because we have all the things and everybody on the desk.
But that is an absolutely beautiful piece.
It looks to me like at least 2 layers of carving on it. And it's carved on both sides.
I love the shape of that.
And it is signed. But
Yeah,
we
it
haven't
is
been able to
signed.
read the
I'm not
signature
familiar
yet.
with that artist.
There's a signature right there.
I think it's Putz Putz.
Yeah, something like that. So it's a clear base, a clear foot. And it's about, can we see this at all? It's got like a square. It starts out
It's such a
square.
neat shape, weird shape.
Yeah, you can kind of see
It's
it
a
there.
fan base. If you're into fan bases, it is a fan base.
Go. You can see the top or the bottom. That's what the choice is currently.
Whenever I unpacked that and showed that to Barbara there after I got here, she said, "Are you keeping that one?"
I know. See, it's not just me, guys. They're like, tell us if it's for sale. I'm like, but I want to look at it for a little while first.
And there's some things where you're like, it's not for sale, it's not for sale. And then somebody comes to your house, they're like, so I really like.
Well, I've had that happen a lot of times, and after they left with it all packed up in their car, why did I do that?
Yeah. So I see LJ at 200. It is really pretty.
I love it. I just absolutely love it.
That's
I
right.
just about went bonkers whenever I saw that.
Dolores, I mean, you are going to see some, this is a starting offer of 200 on this one. So if anybody wants to make an offer, we have LJ in at 200. Christine, we already have LJ in. If you want to offer more than 200, you're welcome to.
And once we're over 200, we generally go up $10 at a time.
So it's a little
It
bit
just kinda
easier, I
makes it
guess, to
easy.
see the bottom of it or the top this way. So yeah, Paula has LJ in at 200. LJ, I don't know if I have your information or not. I know I've seen you in chats and whatnot, but not that, I wonder if it's not that same color as that one, is it? Just out of
It's
curiosity.
pretty close.
I think this
They had about 8 or 9 different shades of green. I think it is just about.
We're going to just
I
look
think
at it.
this one's a hair.
Come my
that one's
way.
got a little bit
But a lot
more
of
blue
times,
to it.
because of the shape of the base and the type of density of the
That's
glass
more
that they would
emerald.
use to make the base, it would make it lighter or darker.
Yeah, I think
We
that
don't want
fan
to
base
confuse
is.
anybody,
yeah.
but that one's another Blanco piece of
That's
similar
the
color.
front of our glass. Because, like I said, even to the shape and the size of the piece would make it lighter or darker. A lot of times, it would be the same color.
Sorry, Chris. There's so much glass out there too. It's amazing the colors and shapes and styles and finishes and
Yeah.
the artistry that people put on it. It's
People said,
amazing.
ask me, what do you collect? Well, I got
Thank you, LJ.
about 3,000 pieces of Fenton in the house. And Barbara got me started on the beautiful table settings deal, and I'm collecting different sets of china, different sets of crystal, etched crystal, and I like Schaefer and Vader from the Victorian era, the
Yeah, I
Wedgwood
know you
type
like the
stuff made in
Victorian
Germany. And the house is jam-packed full. Plus my selling inventory that's right next to the house in another building.
Would you guess an age on this or a year? that
I'm
this was
thinking
made in?
1980s on into 90s, something like that. I'm just kind of guessing off the top of my head.
For the Blanco and to
Yeah,
start
don't
with?
quote me on that because that's just kind of
I don't know.
from the shape there and everything.
I'd have to look in a Blanco book and pick
Don't
the
know.
color and the.
And then, I mean,
And I'll admit, I'm not as good on Blanco shapes and colors as I should be, even though I'm real good friends with the guy that is vice president of Blanco,
we're going
Dean
twice.
Six. There, he just started in about 6-7 years ago as head of Blanco. I never did learn Blanco that well, but like I should have, because I was interested in so many other different types of glass.
And then you don't know when they carved it because they didn't
Right.
put a
It
date
could have
on
been
that.
carved like much later. Yeah. The nice thing about Blanco is one of the few handmade glass companies that still left in existence in the United States. The other one is Mossa.
Yes.
Then that's a fun deal. You can still go to the Blanco factory and the gift shop and see the items they're producing currently. And a lot of times when if COVID scare ever gets over, you can actually go upstairs and across the deck to see stand there and watch them making glass.
Oh yeah. All right, so we're gonna sell this one. You're welcome, Christine. And it's in Milton, West Virginia.
Yes.
And I have a video on it from when we were there this summer. It's one of my mother's favorite places to go. And we've been there
It's fun.
3 times.
That's it?
Yeah, and you see new
In
stuff
4
every
years.
time.
Yeah.
You see new stuff every time you go,
Mhm.
and it's a lot of fun.
Yep. All right, we're gonna sell this one, Miss Paula. Can you put in sold for us, please? I have 200 currently with LJ. I'm gonna pass this off to you, and I'm gonna make you a thing for it.
Thank you.
And then as long as we get the sold from Miss Paula, we will be confirmed.
That
There
is
she
an
is. Sold,
outstanding
sold, sold.
piece.
Number 4 goes to LJ. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Am I good?
Yep, you're
Okay.
within you're in frame.
I thought I might be in frame, but you know.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, the blue piece was made in the 1940s. The
Bottom.
opalescent, the bottom was actually made up as an atomizer by Fenton for DeVilbiss. And then they would also ask them to make oil lamps out of that bottom. The pattern is called plumes.
And it's
I
got
always thought that was so
opalescence
cool. I
at
always
the
thought that
top.
was such a neat one. And if
They
you're
are
lucky,
hard
you'll
to
see,
find.
actually anymore, sometimes you'll see the oil lamps more than you will see a good atomizer in that, because the atomizer bulbs tend to disintegrate and would rot out.
And I think we've seen this at least 3 times in the atomizer. I know I've got one
Yes.
somewhere in here. So you want
The
to
basket
hold
is
that one
black
up close?
rose. The black rose treatment Fenton started making in the 1950s.
Okay.
It is peach crest, or it is peach blow. I'm sorry, peach blow. White on the outside, pink on the inside, 2-layer glass. There, and then it has the added ebony or black rim and handle, or black crest and handle.
So what do
This
they call
piece was
this
made,
again?
the hobnail was made in the late
Black
80s,
rose.
early 90s for QVC. Like that.
So this again is one of those exceptions to the rules and how they name it, because it's not called black crest or ebony crest,
Right.
because
So that's another pattern.
Because it's on the peach blow.
Yeah. And they
It's
call it black
called
rose.
Black rose.
Well, it's just like the silver turquoise and silver rose that made about that
Exactly.
same time.
And I imagine Bill and Frank Fenton sat up in the middle of the night thinking up these names, and how can we confuse these peoples?
Pretty much.
But black rose from the 50s, and whenever they made it in the 50s, it was done just on a plain milk glass piece. It wasn't done like with hobnail or any other pattern. And it was a very short-lived color, because I don't think it was as popular at that time as what it is now. It's very desirable now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they did a lot for QVC in those.
Yeah, they did a lot
years,
of
didn't
black rose for QVC there. I had found out a lot of the stuff, especially in the 50s, that they made that was sales failures at that time has become the most desirable and most popular things for the collectors now.
Yeah. Well, I think some of it is at the 80s and the 90s, and it's the people that were kids or their parents collected.
Yeah, they
those
remember
times,
that.
and now they're collecting those colors or those styles.
Or, and another thing, a lot of the stuff that they would make back at that time in the 1940s, they had trouble making it. They discontinued production, and now it's highly desirable also.
Well, and that's genius, because I mean, you only make it for so long. If you make it for forever,
Yeah.
it doesn't, increase
And
the
Fenton was
value.
one color one company that pretty well changed over their styles of making glass, their patterns and their colors pretty regular. Every 2 to 3 years, they would have there would be some that would overlap each other, but every 2 to 3 years, just about everything was a complete different changeover there.
Yeah, I mean, and they changed colors and patterns and designs and finishes and everything. They didn't, I mean, it's not like they totally stopped making certain things, right?
And then they would bring it back after 20 years a lot of times.
Yeah. So, is that pattern? Yes, Chris, this is a hobnail. The hobnail is the design of
Right, the hobnail is the pattern. The pattern of the mold or the shape of hobnail, but the treatment is called black rose.
Yeah, and it's because it's an overlay, and then it's because it's this total combination that they call it black rose.
A lot of people don't realize Fenton a lot of times. This is a good example. The mold would have a pattern name, and it would be hobnail. The treatment is black rose. And then the different colors would be milk glass, ebony, and then peach blow.
Yes.
And as a lot of times Fenton would make pieces of glass that were just completely all ebony or completely all milk glass or just completely peach blow.
And this is why it's confusing sometimes because of all the exceptions for me for memorizing colors, because sometimes it's the name of the color, sometimes it's the name of the applied crest, and sometimes it's the combination that they've named it after, depending on how it's put together. So, but he remembers them all. So, okay, what's our next book, Mr. John?
Okay, let's see here.
Barb's slacking and going to the bathroom.
Chronologically.
Okay.
This was the next book that actually came out. This was the Fenton Compendium. This covered the years 1970 to 85.
And we commonly call this the Green Compendium.
Yeah, the Green Compendium.
Yeah.
Now we don't have with us Barb because Barbara couldn't find it.
Because I use it a lot.
We're going to just go ahead and talk about it. Also, there is one other compendium. It's the 1985 to 2000 compendium.
Yep.
And it's a blue book, and it covers all the inline items from that time period.
Hey, Edward, how are you doing tonight? Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Everybody remember to give thumbs up. That'd be awesome. And yeah. Okay. So where are we at next? We did your books for this one. You have a new piece for us, Miss Barb? All right. What do we got next to look at?
Actually, took a peek at a sand carved paperweight here.
Okay. What is our start on that one?
This is another Kelsey Murphy piece. I've been trying to, ever since I bought this at the same estate sale that the Blanco piece was at. I've been trying to figure out if that is amber on that. Yeah. Yep. Every time I look at it, it almost shows up ruby.
Yeah, it's a really pretty root beer.
This was, the shape was made by Pilgrim again. This was made in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay, here's the start on it because it's it's pure. So basically, if it's carved, it's high.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
And the fun part about Kelsey, she went a lot with nature, like flowers, or a lot of mythical items. She did a lot of fairies and everything. She did fun stuff and interesting items.
I think one of the favorite ones I saw was like a gazebo in a flower garden.
Yeah, she did some great stuff. Fenton, that she got a little bit more down to earth, but she also did a lot of 1920s, 1930s theme ladies there and everything. And she, like I said, she did interesting, fun items.
Yeah, it says Kelsey right here.
Yeah.
And it's etched in it, so I'm trying to bring it up. And there's 2000 is here upside down. And then it says GS 504A or 5049.
That was probably their word number for that piece.
And then, Pilgrim.
Yeah.
So this is a Pilgrim Paperweight. And then
that is a great piece. That's
it is. And you can really see the
It's
color.
got trillium on it.
You can see the color there. It's like a really pretty dark honey color. Okay. I'm gonna read some comments here. Yep, thumbs up. Awesome. Julia's here. That's right. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe to my channel because, I know a few interesting people, and sometimes they come and agree to do some interviews with us like this. And if you're not subscribed and getting the notifications, you won't know when
And we're
they'll be
going to do a
coming
cross
on.
promotion because if you like Fenton, you like other types of glass, I do have a page on Facebook. It's John Walk and Stephen Embry's Wonderful World of Fenton. I'm trying to get it organized a little bit more where I will be selling stuff on that page. I also sell on Etsy. The glass page is called Simply Fenton Art Glass. Put
You're
that
welcome,
together, all
guys.
one word.
Thank you for watching.
And I have 4 other pages on Etsy. Etsy also, I do one with nothing but China and American dinnerware. I have dealt in that for ever since I've been in business. I do another page that's called Vintage Tablecloths. That is nothing but print tablecloths and print hankies, silk hankies from the 1940s, 1950s.
So what I'll try and do is I'll try and get all those links and put them in the description.
That'd be great, yeah.
So people can go and look at your other areas of
Because
items
the
that you
one
sell.
on the glass page, I have over 1,000 items listed on there right now.
We're going to be going once on this. We have Laura in at 125. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Somebody's talking about me. My nose itches.
We always talk about you.
I know. That's the thing. All right. I know, LJC. I mean, here's the thing. I bring a lot of basically commons, is what we call them in Fenton, and some of the really affordable like price ranges to my channel. John has brought some high end, some stuff you don't normally see. So I mean, that's the thing.
I try to deal in stuff that you know. Go to an antique show or go online, you don't see every day. Because you can always buy that stuff. And I try it, and that has been the key to my success dealing in antiques ever since I've been in business, to have something that my competition don't have on the table at the same time.
True.
It'll be more pricey, but you're not going to go to that antique show or to another one 2 weeks later and see the same thing. And it may be 10 years before you see the same thing.
All right, we're sold. We're sold to Miss Laura Orton for 125. Thank you so much. You got us a new one?
I do.
All right.
People don't realize I turn heaven and hell upside down looking for those items.
Well, that's it. He comes out here and picks in our territory.
I keep on telling them to stay out of the shops here in Colorado Springs till I get them all picked out.
Right?
I found a few things. This week, you know. All right. Thank you so much, Laura. All right. What's next? I think you're gonna have to snug up a little bit here.
You're gonna have to snug.
There we go.
Okay.
What's our start on this group?
85.
Okay. The basket is the Jacqueline pattern with the rib optic and cranberry opalescent.
Did you say 85?
85.
Okay. And will you have a third piece or no?
I think we'll just stick with these two.
That's very cute. Was that one of the ones that was done for the NFG, the FAGCA?
I
think it was.
I don't remember.
I think it was.
And it's not marked that way, so I'm not positive.
Yeah, not all of them was marked because if they did them during the glass tour for the FAGCA, they didn't mark them.
Yeah.
Okay, so FAGCA
It's the Fenton Art Glass Collectors of America. That's the other Fenton National Fenton Club.
Two national Fenton clubs, the FAGCA
and the NFGS.
And the NFGS. If you're interested in looking up more information, those are the two that exist.
But the basket was made in the late 90s. The bowl was made in the 1938, was whenever they did Spiral Optic. That was actually the first full-scale production of opalescent that Fenton did, and cranberry was one of the first colors they did it in. There, it was only done until about 1940. You don't see a lot of the Spiral Optic pieces just regular there.
So did you show this up close that they saw the pattern within that?
The Jacqueline was a pattern that they started making in 1960. They named it after Jacqueline Kennedy. There, after her husband was elected president.
Hey, AK.
And they used it from time to time in opalescent patterns. It's a very pretty pattern that a lot of people always says it.
Lots of colors, right?
What's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm talking about the pattern, right?
Yeah, the pattern here that's in the glass.
A lot of people always says, and you can see it, the pattern better whenever it's on some of the original pieces, but it looked like a little artichoke.
Yes. That came in what, a good 6, 7, 8 colors?
Yes, and the overlays in the early 1960s. Now,
See,
the
Chris
cranberry glass is actually ruby glass cased with clear glass to get the cranberry color.
See if I can turn it in.
And then they would add bone ash in it and put it in an optic mold. They would put an optic mold into and press it into the spot, what they call a spot mold, and press it into the actual shape.
Okay.
There, and that and the bone ash would cause the white to come up in the higher parts of the optic mold.
Okay. So here you can see I've turned the foot so you can see it looks clear between the opalescent pattern in the glass. That's the clear layer of glass over the ruby layer of glass that makes it look that cranberry color. And here's one of those ash inclusions right there. No, never mind. That's just a goober.
Well, sometimes you'll see, especially from that time period, from the 30s, you'll see a piece of actual glass actual ash embedded into the glass.
Mm-hmm. Because of the.
I always thought that was cool. A lot of people call that a flaw. I just say it's part of the glass making process.
It's a character.
Yeah.
I would say from that era, it's not a flaw.
Yeah, that's not uncommon to find a piece like that there. And back at that time, they did not have a gift shop or outlet shop, and all those pieces, if they wasn't too bad, they just ship them on out as good pieces.
Yeah. All right, we have Chris in at 85. If anybody else wants to be in, it needs to be more than that because we're going to be going once. And this one I think is done, and then this one goes towards the sold section.
Okay,
so
did you need sticky on
it's on the bottom because it won't stick to the other part of it. So, yeah. Hey, Miss Helen, how are you doing tonight? Thank you. Thank you, Paula. That's where I was going with this. It's fun to be able to put pieces up that you just don't see on a normal basis and have somebody be able to tell you exactly what it is.
I don't like that estate sale I went into right before I came out here. I was kind of like, oh, wow. I don't believe.
When the author of 9 books says, oh, wow, that means you don't see it a lot altogether. They want to know what this piece is called again.
That's spiral optic. That's cranberry opalescent, and that's the spiral optic.
So
pattern.
Cranberry opalescent, spiral optic, ruffled bowl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Double crimped.
Double crimped because it's got the crimp here, and then it goes up and down the side. Okay. There we go. All right, we'll be going twice. Did that answer your question, Chris? Sorry, I keep going out of frame because I have my tablet on that side. On this side. Over here. So I'm trying to make sure John stays in, and then
do this one.
And then thank you, Laura. Appreciate it. And then I put it in. I just didn't enter it. Good job, Becky. All right.
Yay.
Auntie Christy says hello, John and Barb.
Hello.
She says she remembers you all from another video when we were
when we toured. That was fun.
Probably at Gala.
Gala, may have been at the NFS, yeah.
Thank you, Paula. All right, we are sold to Chris. Chris, what is your choice, please? Would you like A, B, or both?
And any of you that goes to antique shows, I do antique shows yet and glass shows from time to time. I will be doing the glass show outside of Pittsburgh the first weekend of March. That's my next glass show. And I do vintage shows. I do a lot of shabby chick and fun stuff too.
Thank you, Miss Chris. I got you for that. Is anyone else interested in this little basket and the Jacqueline pattern for $85? Just give us a shout out while we wait for Barb to do it.
Piece.
Yeah.
That's the fun part about Fenton collectors. Either they're collecting colors or patterns, or they get to collecting shapes.
It's amazing all the different ways people collect. Because they collect by color, they collect by shape, they collect by collection, they collect by finish. or a painter or an artist? And speaking of which, that was a question somebody had a little bit ago. Is there certain artists that are more sought after than
Yeah,
others?
Marilyn Wagner, Louise Piper, J.K. Spindler. I'm trying to think of some of the ones that's still painting at the
Michael Dickinson.
Yeah, Michael Dickinson is
C.C.
one of the
Hartman.
greatest ones. Louise Piper was the head decorator. She's whenever they started up the art department, she's very sought after.
Yeah. So there's still what, 4 or 5 ladies that are
Yeah,
painting?
I
for
know
Fenton?
J.K. Spindler, Frances Burton is another one
Frances
that's very
Burton.
sought after.
Who does
Martha
Mom like?
Reynolds.
Who does Mom like? I don't remember what her name is.
Give me a minute to come up with it.
All right. Her bell's right up there. But I can't remember.
I want to say Michelle Kibbe. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Michelle Kibbe is one that's still.
You're welcome, Jan.
Who was the one that fell several years ago and broke both arms in the ice?
no.
That still works at the factory, at the gift shop now. She's been out there several times to Galen. I can't. The name. I can see her right now, and the name's on the top of my head, but I can't think of what it is right now.
Well, we'll think about that. Why don't you tell us about this mushroom?
Okay, mushroom. I'm pretty sure is a Fenton mushroom. It's not. It doesn't have the Fenton logo. It would have been done in the 1980s, either by Dave Petty or Delma Stowalser, because they was doing those at that time. It's the Vasa Marana. Most of the time, the Vasa Marana mushrooms was done in the green adventuride, which, like you see, the regular Vasa Marana. This was done with a green, with a rose and brown tan and much less frit.
Do we have other Vasa Marina color variations to show?
Do you have any of the green adventuride?
I do.
I have not seen a mushroom before.
You don't see them. They was very limited in production whenever they came out.
I knew what that meant.
They're highly sought after. The shape is right, but for some reason they just did not get it stamped on the bottom, because that would have been a sand curved stamp.
Here's what's neat about it is you can see the core colors with the clear and the white, and then that layer is where the frit comes
frit,
from,
yes, the
where
frit.
all this
Mhm.
color comes from. is
And
the
another
frit
indication that's a dead giveaway
and then
is
the
most of
clear
the
on
color
top.
would go into the center, and it would be that almost like I call it a natural crest that would be around the edge of the top part of the mushroom.
John, I'm going to ask you a question there about that. Were the other Vasa Marina sample pieces marked?
Which is what?
Because that's not a normal Vasa Marina color.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, the mushrooms is all marked.
Even if they were done in weird colors.
Yeah, even if they was done in weird colors, most
Okay.
of the time they was always marked.
Okay.
But sometimes they wouldn't get it
Because I know a lot of times
like
if
they
it's
should.
if it's an experimental, it doesn't
Good
get
job,
marked.
Annie Christie. You got them. Gosh, we made it. We got bots tonight and everything.
Michelle Kibbe is Kibble. No, it isn't
Kibbe.
Kibbe. Okay, thank you.
You almost made her into kibble.
Close enough to Google. That's what we got.
So this is the blue and green
That's
adventure.
the Green Adventurer, and that is a neat piece too.
Sorry, Laura. If there's anything you want us to repeat, just please ask in the chat. It's not a problem at all.
And if there's
usually we're
anything that
saying
you
that.
need questions on down the line, just go ahead and email Becky. She'll forward it all over to me, and I'll try to help you guys out.
That's right.
Or we'll make something up. That works too.
Yeah. I'll be like, John, so the people say give Becky the mushroom.
Right?
Yeah, all right.
That seems fair, right?
Exactly. I mean, you know.
That's one. If
think
I
I
don't
got
get
it,
the price I want out of it, it will be sitting there at home, and I will be enjoying it myself.
John, I could enjoy it for you. Here's
Yeah, I know
my
you
other
could.
mushroom.
Visit it.
Yeah, you could visit it at my house. See, I got a couple mushrooms there.
I see you over
A
there.
couple over there. You know, I have a little mushroom collection going on. Did I get it, Chris? I think so. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next. You got something else for me if I pull this one down?
Sure.
Okay. Oh, here, let's show another book. What's another book,
Okay.
John?
Next one is the Big Book of Fentanyl Class.
Big book. Now, here you go. And
I
talk
almost-
about cross collectibles right there.
I almost got in trouble whenever I did the first book because I did not include Milk Glass in it because it was going to, I knew it was going to take a whole nother volume by itself. And at that time I did the very first book and that came out in 98, Milk Glass wasn't that collectible. And so later on I ended up doing it. We decided to include the pastel Milk Glass pieces too there. And it is the only other book that I have done that has went into another edition. This is the second edition of the book on Fenton Milk Glass.
So there's the milk glass.
And we had a running joke because the publisher asked for everything to be on a white background. He figured all the lighting would help shade the colors and show them up better. And whenever I was doing the proofs on this book for the slides of the pictures, it was in August, and I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone, and I said, I am going snowblind. She said, what are you talking about? I said, I am looking at all this white glass on a white background, and I am going snowblind.
Right? Okay, Chris, I made you a mod. If you still see the bot, you can go take care of it, because I can't see it on my end anymore. Okay. What's the next one? So we've covered five books so far.
John, I gotta ask you, is this piece for sale?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, man.
This is the one John has really seriously considered for himself. And the crowd goes wild.
Yeah, be careful. Those are sold.
Hey,
Oh, it's not breakable. Good job.
Well, at least not easily breakable.
Nope. Okay, Paula, thank you. This is Barbie got one. Oh, I'll report him too. There's this new thing on YouTube where they like to come in and put these little things in there, call them bots, where they're just automated people, putting in links. So then when you later, apparently it makes a link so you can go and get some crappy stuff downloaded to your
Cream or
computer.
whatever.
No, like a virus downloaded.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. I thought it was like their own little commercials.
Oh no.
I told you I was not that up on tech.
Okay. All right. What do we got here, Mr.
This is a piece of Kelsey Murphy again.
Yeah.
Can you do
We're
that
just
on
gonna
your
have to
side? 'Cause
rotate
that's a really bad angle.
This is really a big piece,
Can you
heavy
put it down
piece.
here?
Maybe.
Because it's so big and we can't see
We'll
it.
do a
There. This was another piece that was
We've got
made
it
off
just
of a
going
Pilgrim
down to the
blank.
top of it.
There, probably around, like I said, late
You're just
90s, early 2000s.
slow.
Forest scene. You feel how heavy that sucker.
Yes, I do. And it's got the clear glass over the green.
Yeah.
You can see it down here at the base.
It's pretty impressive.
I thought it was black when she first brought it over here. Okay.
Oh no,
what's
it's John Walk Green.
our-
What's your starting
What's
on?
our start?
150.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
450.
Okay.
That is absolutely drop dead gorgeous piece of glass.
It's
So
amazing.
do we know who did this one?
It was done by Kelsey Murphy.
Also, okay.
Yeah.
And was it signed and everything on the bottom of that other piece?
Let's see, it was signed Kelsey, but that other one that we have was limited edition.
Oh, LJ's in at 450. Hi Jennifer, how are you doing tonight?
Somebody must really like Kelsey.
Wow, LJ said she likes the China and stuff too. Well, they saying something that they like, and this is where it's at tonight.
Yeah, that's what I've been. Well, that's what you've been telling me ever since you've been on here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Can you see how the bottom? Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Kelsey Pilgrim, and then I would imagine the GS is their
Right
wear
here.
number.
Where's the
It is a
number?
1998. I said late 90s, so I wasn't too
It's as
far
old
off.
as my daughter. So it says GS.
5108. I would imagine that was the wear number.
Okay. All right. So I mean, I
Has
would
your-
guess I'm
Has your arm broke yet?
guessing what, a good 6-8 pounds of
I would
glass?
imagine at least.
It's gonna.
This
This is going to need a double box, and it's only going to be the only thing I put in the box when I
Right,
ship
yeah.
this, because it is heavy enough on its own that you want to make sure that it's not going to bump into anything else. So
It's gonna take.
and the Cameo glass, I will warn you, it's very fragile.
yeah,
And
so I have
everything.
to. do
You
extra
always need to
shipping
wrap it
too.
well whenever you bring it in. Leave it, especially in this kind of weather that we're having all across the United States. Leave it set in the box before you unwrap it for at least a day to let it warm up.
Yeah, you don't want to shock this temperature wise. You want it to warm up gradually. I mean, look at the little detail right down here at the oops, too high. Oh, she's got a buzz going on. Sorry, guys.
Sorry.
You'll just hear it. We won't see it. So, but the grass at the bottom of the vase is amazing. That's a pretty neat piece there, John.
That is absolutely a drop dead gorgeous, wonderful piece.
So here's the thing. I mean, you normally see like one piece of carved stuff if you see it.
Yeah.
We've already brought out 3. So
Why do you think I went so nuts at an estate sale?
You must have hit the mother lode of carved stuff.
That's the most Kelsey I have ever found at one time.
Oh yes, and LJ, it will be insured for the purchase price for sure as well. I will add extra insurance to it as well.
We ask you how far away you live.
Well, that's a good question. But all right, we're going to be going once. If anybody else is interested, I'm going to double check the chat and make sure that I see LJ in there. We said hi to Jennifer. It is a beautiful piece, and it's got a big presence. It's just by size alone. Chilling down here in Aurora. You're just down the road from us if you're in Aurora, Colorado. Right?
She's
exactly.
In Minnesota. Is it cold up there right now?
Oh, it's freezing up there.
Is it really? I figured it was.
I mean, I thought it was like -4, -10 the other night when somebody was talking.
I was born to live in Florida. That just, even the mention of that just freezes me to death.
Yeah.
But he's now discovered that when we say it's cold and then it goes away in Colorado, it's true.
Right? Because we were at 50 degrees on Friday. We were at a high of a whole whopping 16 on Saturday with snow, with
below zero.
Below zero. And then it was back up to like 42 on Sunday.
And then today we were in the 50s.
It was beautiful today.
Yeah, we're out in our shirt sleeves.
Mm-hmm. Right? 2 days ago it was -50 with wind chill where she's at.
We're only -7. It was balmy.
Hi, Maria.
No wonder you're sitting in here and there where it's warm on YouTube.
Thank you, Paula. All right, we have LJ for this beautiful green carved vase. And yes, since each of those 2 pieces will be, so the shipping is going to cost a little bit more because they'll be individually packaged and wrapped because I don't want them to smack together or anything. And otherwise it would just be too heavy. So, but thank you so much.
That thing almost breaks your arm whenever you go to pick that up.
It was heavy. Okay, I'm ready whenever you are, Barb, if you'd like to move this one out. I'm going to write this one down, and then I'll get you a little sticker for it. Yes. And LJ says, that is fine.
Yeah, I just fell in love with that piece.
Do you prefer a certain, what's your preference in what you collect for Fenton?
My trouble is I like everything. I'm kind of like a lot of other people. I may keep it for a little while and I get tired of it and I go ahead and sell it. There is some that's keepers. I collect a lot of the whimsy sample items that Fenton made whenever they was trying to develop colors. That's one of my main collections in Fenton.
Oh, the whimsies?
Yeah, the whimsies.
We should talk about that. I mentioned that the other night and everybody's like, wait, what? Whimsies? What does that mean? So
well, that mushroom was one of the whimsies that we just had on there.
And then I threw in the term lunchbox piece, and everybody
lunchbox
just went crazy. Like, what are you talking about? We never heard about this.
Piece that went up, walked out after they made it in a lunchbox, so they wouldn't have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So what's a whimsy? What were they? Were they creating things like at the end of the day, being artistic?
A lot of times at the end of the day, they would stick up. A lot of times a whimsy would just be a simple deal where they would stick a mold into the furnace of a different color glass than what it was actually normally made.
Okay.
A lot of times they would make a different type of a ruffle on it than what it normally was. Or if it was a base, they would add a handle, or even a bowl, they would add a handle onto it.
So they manipulated in a way that it wasn't normally meant to be.
Production piece, yeah, it wasn't a normal production piece.
And some of those whimsies went to like the president's office.
Frank Fenton would see them. He liked them. He thought they was neat. They go there. They stay up there and display in his office for a while. Some of them went out in lunch boxes. They never did even know. Whenever I was working on the books, I showed Frank Fenton a number of different pieces. He said it went out in a lunchbox. I had never seen it before.
Okay. All right.
And
now Jeff is asking if you'll explain the temperature thing about unboxing. So what we're talking about is when you get a package of glass, it's best if you bring it in the house and let it, a day or two, gradually warm up to the temperature of your house.
Yeah, right.
And then the glass inside will warm up to that temperature,
Yeah, right.
and it won't shock it. And because sometimes it can crack the glass.
Right, yeah.
If it goes
They'll
from
just shatter it sometimes.
from an extreme temperature.
Right.
Okay.
Especially if you have a piece of glass that has varying thicknesses, like in the Cameo glass. Put a third piece up on that.
That's right, Annie Christie. Gotta keep it for a bit and appreciate it, and then pass it on to its forever home. All right, what do we got up here?
Okay, we got blue overlay. It's the little vase that was done in the 1940s. There, blue overlay is blue glass case with milk glass. Or actually overlaid with over the top of milk glass.
Pasted or overlay.
Yeah. Let me say that again. Yep. Blue over white.
This is Ruby Carnival or Red Carnival. The pattern is panel grape, which was a Westmoreland pattern that Westmoreland Glass Company had used for years. Whenever they went out of business, Fenton bought several different panel grape molds off of them. They used them pretty regular.
Can you stop throwing things at me, Beth?
It only went halfway to the
Oh, okay.
So that one will have the script F in it instead of the script Fenton. The blue piece, and I caught all sorts of flack on that. Whenever they bought out the satin opalescent line in the 1950s, whenever a piece of that would escape the satinization process, they would call it glossy rib optic or glossy blue opalescent or something like that. And later on, whenever they started doing satin again in the 70s, they had the lime satin, the blue satin, and the custard satin. And that was the satin terminology was actually in the name. And I got to calling that, like a piece like that one time, glossy blue satin. They said, you can't call it that. Well, that's what it is. It was actually supposed to be blue satin, but they didn't satinize it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick note. We got 40 people in the room, but we only have 23 thumbs up. Go give us a
Hey, don't you love us anymore?
Hopefully don't thumbs us. Thank goodness.
Like thumbs down.
Yeah. I don't like what John's saying about that piece. So I'll take my thumbs up back.
I hereby retract my thumbs up.
That's right. And it's something to do with the weird algorithms and YouTube and all that stuff. So there we are. Okay, so we'll give that a little bit on the lag. Let's pick another book to show them.
Okay. We can start in. Let's get down here. So the next one, and we don't have it with us, is the rarities book. We just talk about the rarities and whimsies.
Yeah.
I did a whole volume on rarities, whimsies, sample pieces, items that were just so god rare that you'll probably never be able to own one, but it's just nice to know what they it looks like in case you would actually see it in person. And it has become one of my most popular books. It was the most fun book to compile and work on.
Because you got to see a lot of things you don't normally see.
Right. And like I said, I enjoyed working on that. I had the most fun because different people would keep on pulling out stuff. Have you seen this? Have you seen that?
They like showing off their collections that way.
And I have a large number of pieces from my own collection in that.
Yes,
let's try to acquire them.
And it's still an ongoing process. That book came out in 1983. I said 83, 2003.
Oh, okay.
And I have found a lot of stuff where I actually need to do another book that's even in my own collection.
Even this summer when we were in West Virginia for convention, I know we had probably 6-8 pieces that were in your rarities book that we had out for sale in the room shopping.
And then John had one he had on display that is a mulberry hobnail piece.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, the blue is pretty, Miss Julia.
Yeah, I always like. I've got a pretty large collection of blue beaded melon because I always love that pattern and the blue overlay.
Yep. Okay, what's next?
Okay,
what are we starting off on?
I'm going to start at 85.
Okay. Oh, I forget to put choice after it every time. You need to
Oh,
stay
that's
on
a
the.
pretty one.
Yeah.
I thought I could get it
That
in the.
cranberry color
It's
shows up
close.
so pretty on that one.
It's all. It looks so dark. I wondered if it really was cranberry.
It is cranberry.
It is dark, and it is painted by A Meeks. And what pattern is this?
That is the drapery pattern.
And there's the florals that are painted on it. Try and get it out of the. There we go.
That came out in the 90s. It was done for QVC with that decoration on it and then cranberry.
The lessons and the ruffle.
That is a drop dead gorgeous piece.
It is very rich color. Okay, what's this one here?
This is the hard optic in the melon powder jar.
Okay, everybody. So, like, you're used to seeing like the coin dot or the mini dot, but then they did this dot
Hard
optic in the heart.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody who collects hearts, this is
Well,
just
actually, this was a
gorgeous.
Valentine's. It and Mary Gregory were both Valentine's Day patterns that they would only have out during Valentine's Day. There was all limited production. And limited production in the time since that they was just out for a limited period of time. There wasn't like 1 or 2,000 or whatever.
That makes sense. And then this one is.
This is the dot optic. This was made by Fenton for LG Wright.
Now, was this one supposed to have a stopper?
Yes, it had a stopper.
Okay, so it does not have a stopper included in this piece. But.
And that was done in the 1950s.
1950s. It always amazes me to hear the times because I'm like, it looks so new and so similar to some of the stuff from QVC.
You have
amazing to see it.
They saw that piece of
Julia.
spiral optic that bowl that was on earlier, and you know how much lighter that is. And to get the density of the cranberry, like in the base and these time period pieces, they had to add more gold. Back at that time in the 40s, Fenton would skimp on adding so much gold, so it would come out lighter.
That makes sense.
And then later on, they added more gold to get it to come out the real rich color of cranberry.
I see Christine at 85. Thank you. Yeah, so that ends up being the difference between the variations of the colors.
And then they must have added a lot of gold on that size of piece, because the bigger the piece, as you would get bigger, because there was only one gob of the glass to make the piece, and the color would get more lighter the bigger the piece.
Yeah, because they blow it out thinner, right?
Right.
The thinner it is, the lighter the color looks also. Yeah. Well, that is interesting. All right. We're at 85. If anyone else is interested, be 85 or above. We're going to be going once. And, oh, you've pulled all sorts of pretties for us. I'm going to give you this one. And I think
that's some fun stuff here tonight.
Look at John saying we got fun stuff even. You're going to leave that one?
I think we'll leave that one just so I don't.
And then you're going to leave the
Turkey.
Got it.
We still have those fairy lights from that series out. We pack them.
They might be in the Christmas box.
Okay.
Anything that I had out for fairy lights went back in those two boxes
in there, so.
on the shelf. And so otherwise it might have went to Alabama with Christmas. That could have been.
We've had it up since.
Well, then you packed it.
Okay.
With
so
you for Etsy? Question mark?
Possibly. Here. Question mark?
I mean, that's the thing, is we have inventory from shows. We have a couple people who can sign with us. I have glass here that's mine, Barb's, John's, Mom's. Oh, look, there's the Fenton oval right there.
And
big one.
A lot of times in the blown pieces like that, cranberry is a blown glass. The oval is very hard to see because it does what they call fire out.
Yep, that's the oval is pressed in the glass, and then there's an etched oval right there. That one's got a double mark on it.
Yeah, a lot of times they would go ahead and do that too.
Okay. So did I do a going twice? Let's do it. Going twice. We'll watch, see what everybody else coming in there. And Christy, I'm looking at Christy's comment. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a red person, but this one is beautiful.
Cranberry has always been one of my main collections besides the Whimsy.
Do you know what year this one was?
I'm not sure. They started it in the mid '90s and they ran it on until about 2005, 2006. So they would only bring out was it 2 pieces each year of the hard Optic? I think they would
It was
only
either 2 or 3.
yeah,
It
2 or
wasn't very
3
many.
each year.
All right, what is your choice, please, Miss Christine? Christine K.
Kelsey is Kelsey Murphy. That's her first name, and she liked to be kind of like Cher. She'd like to just be known as by her first name all the time.
Cher.
Yeah.
Or Prince.
Yeah, or
Or
Prince.
the artist formerly known as
Yeah,
Prince.
right.
But then what did he end up?
Kelsey, if anybody has ever heard of Kelsey or been acquainted
Thank you,
with Kelsey,
Christine.
Kelsey is a lot of fun to be around, but she's a bigger than life personality. She is a hoot to know. I have sat there and talked to her so many times and laughed my you know what all.
All right, if anybody else is interested in A or C for 85, just let us know. I'm going to put this one down for Christine. Do you have another book there to pull out for us?
Yeah, just a second. Let me get to the right one. You would think I would have had all these organized.
Well, I mean, are any of John's reference books for sale? Yes, Auntie Christy, they are. That's why we're showing them as we go. I am basically taking down a list, or you can email me, or you can email John, and we'll get it all sorted out as to who wants which book, because he has 9 books, and we've shown 4 and talked about 2 others already. So we're at about 5, 6, somewhere in there. Oh, there's another bot. You talk about this book. What is it?
Okay, book is Fenton Special Orders. Fenton, a lot of people don't realize Fenton made a lot of items for different companies and different individuals from the time that they started in production in 1905 all the way right up to the end. This covers the items that they made for other individuals and other companies from 1940 to 1980, which will include L.G. Wright. You had the one crypt on there just a second ago that was done for L.G. Wright. It covers the pieces that was made for LeVay Gifts out of Edwardsville, Illinois. It covers the pieces that they did for the different importers during World War II. There, whenever they couldn't get the glass from Europe and Japan and different deals.
We're done with that one.
And it was another book that was challenging. It was absolutely interesting. I was informed emphatically that it needed to be done by a dear lady that had made glass on after 1980, Mary Walworth. She kept on telling me, you need to tell the whole story, tell about the special editions, the exclusives for other people. She was a very dear lady. She passed away. She's been gone for about 15 years now. But I was really tickled that she was able to, she was still alive whenever these books came out there. But it's a very interesting book. A lot of information on stuff that you think might be Fenton, but you're not absolutely sure that it is Fenton.
And I mean, and it's Fenton,
but
it's attributed to another company because they
ordered it.
Yeah, they ordered
subcontracted Fenton to pour their glass and their designs for them. Okay. All right. Let me catch up. Oh,
you brought that other one right on time.
All right. I think we answered those questions. And then I put a sticker on this one for you. And then, good job, Barbie. Stomp the bots. Good job. All right. So what are we going to do start-wise on this next group?
We'll do that at 250.
Okay. Piece is a very interesting piece, has very much history to it. The pattern that's done on Burmese is called Circle of Love.
The painted pattern.
The painted pattern.
Okay.
Turn it around to the other side.
I'm going to do this, and then we can bring it up to the camera eventually.
That pattern, that pattern is Love Bouquet. The lady I was just talking about that hounded me until I did the special order books, Mary Walworth, created the Love Bouquet pattern, and Fenton produced it for her in a series of Burmese pieces starting in about 1980. It became very popular. Later on, her daughter decided to continue the tradition. She created her own pattern called Circle of Love. The dove is on each side of this, and it comes on around to her pattern.
And it's, oh, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff on the bottom. 1997, Circle of Love exclusive.
Joyce Corella was Mary Walworth's daughter. Joyce Corella still sells a lot on eBay. She's based out of Michigan.
Yeah, there she signed it. Mary Woolworth has signed it. There's a number 2 something out of 205.
There was 205 made.
And it has, so that's just the bottom dish we're talking about, what it was painted, what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the clear frog.
And that's the way it was issued.
Which is a separate piece inside. And then
it has the Rosaline nip.
This is
and
the
that was the way that piece was issued.
Goes in there. And then we need to talk about, so this color is called Burmese. This color glass is called Rosaline.
Right.
And then the frog inside is clear.
Right.
But that's how they commissioned it to be created.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now.
And they're very hard to find on the open market because most of them has lit in collections and they just don't come out.
And the Burmese, no matter what we're talking about, Burmese glow.
Yes.
It's also made with uranium.
And it's got the uranium specifically in it that makes it glow.
Yes.
So, how many, I mean, it said 205 of those. How many of these have you seen, John?
I've seen very few. I see one every day because I have one.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Because those people that Joyce Bell and Mary Walworth got to be very special people. They was kind of a crying post while I was working on the books. I could always go to them and vent my frustrations.
Yeah.
And Mary Walworth was a joy to know. She was the typical little, short, tiny old lady antique dealer that would fight like a wildcat if you ever got her riled up.
So these are probably like in the realm of once somebody buys this, it goes in their collection.
It does not come back
and
out.
It doesn't come out until they've passed away,
right.
basically.
Mm-hmm.
So here's
every once in a while you'll see a piece of Circle of Love or Love Bouquet on eBay.
So if you see this piece, buy it at a reason. If it's at is any reasonable
halfway reasonable price.
I mean,
just buy it.
Yeah. So
because you're not going to see it again.
And I found mine in Colorado. Surprise, surprise.
You never know where you'll find them at.
No, because we have a hard time finding glass, especially Fenton out here in Colorado. So it's a really neat piece. And this is my first nymph that I found in the wild.
You don't find the nymphs, period. Even the Rosaline and even the stuff, the nymphs that they reissued after 2000, like in Plum Opalescent. And what was some of the other colors? They did one in Dusty Rose, because I know I have
got the milk glass with the indigo blue. Right.
And they're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to collect there. And if you ever get lucky and find that real pale lavender one, just smile and be very happy.
And
even if you and send it to Becky, even if you had to pay about $2,000 to $3,000, because that's the going price.
Well, that's the pale lavender without a logo.
What's that?
That's the pale lavender without a logo.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
I do believe we'll put up another
Barb's finding all sorts of fun
this is another Kelsey Murphy piece.
All right, that's when I can actually lift up.
Yes.
So it says Kelsey on Pilgrim. I'm going to ask you to take that out because I don't want to drop anything on it.
That would really stick.
And what is that? 1995.
95.
This is very early.
9032 9686, something like that. That's what's carved in the bottom.
673.
That's right. So it says Kelsey on Pilgrim, and as the year of 1995, it has leaves.
I always liked the green they used in Pilgrim. I always thought that was a pretty color green.
It's the same color as that big heavy vase that we had, but this one looks a lot lighter because it's much thinner glass.
Well, it is. definitely
Yeah.
a thinner glass. So it's got the leaf design all the way around the top, and then a few random ones coming down on each side. Looks like 2 random ones coming down on each side. It's showing up a little bit darker than it actually is. What's our starting offer on this piece,
100.
John? Okay. So is Kelsey still making and carving
No,
pieces?
Kelsey is pretty well. She has a lot of trouble with arthritis and carpal tunnel, and she pretty well has quit. Well, she's doing glass.
Okay. And then the other person,
Chris Carpenter is
Mhm.
still in production. Actually, she is working in conjunction with Joyce Corella, we were just talking about. Joyce bought pretty well all the Pilgrim blanks that was left whenever Pilgrim was going out of business. Kelsey was making them for a while. She got to the point she couldn't make them, so Joyce hired Chris
yeah.
to make Kelsey piece, to make the Cameo pieces.
Because I believe I remember that they had a video at convention
Mhm.
talking about
Yeah.
the process and how they developed it, and then how she was training
And then Chris
whoever
is,
on it.
not only does Chris has Pilgrim blanks she's working on, she also has Fenton blanks she
Mhm.
works on.
So somewhere out there's a video about
Right.
the
Mhm.
sand carving.
I don't know if on YouTube, if you would punch up Chris Carpenter, sand carved glass, something like that, you might be able to find it. Because I would
Yeah.
imagine it would probably be on YouTube.
Yeah, because I remember it was at NFGS when we
Mhm.
saw it. So I don't know where you'd find it. But how are we doing? Are we doing good, guys? We're bringing you a few things you like to see. Got some good information. Is it interesting? Are we totally boring? Let's take a moment to refresh your drink, refresh your feed.
We think we're entertaining, even if nobody else
Right?
We have a lot of fun.
See, that's it. We have fun no matter what, because we get to talk about glass.
And the deal
and see
of it
pretty
is,
glass.
I've lived, ate and breathed glass for the last 40 odd years. And I love talking about glass. I enjoy it. Yeah, I'll have different people to come over. A lot of people in my area have no conception of what the items is, but then every once in a while you have somebody that's really interesting, and it's a joy to show them around. And
Yeah. Hi, Angelic Treasures. No, Fenton was it was in West Virginia.
Williamstown, West Virginia.
Williamstown, West Virginia. Their factory was there, and they stopped producing in 2011.
Yes. Mhm.
And the factory was torn down in 2019,
Right.
I believe.
Now, the Fenton Company is still open, and they have a gift shop out in between Williamstown and Perkinsburg.
Yes.
But the factory is completely gone. They no longer make their own glass. They'll get lots
Correct.
from Malsa and Blinko and different places.
They're
like that.
building a elementary school, if I remember.
They've already built
correctly.
this. So this is their first year, started this past September, that it's been in use there on the site of the old Fenton factory.
All right. Well, we are getting a good job. Lots of information. So informative. We're absolutely entertaining, apparently.
Well, we have radiant personalities. What can we say?
That's right.
And John has glitter on his eyes, so I don't know what
right.
happened
We've
there.
been-
I have what?
Every once in a while, you turn your head and he goes, ding. You've got.
Well, you got to realize the reason I come out here is to go to the thrift shop.
No, the reason you come out here is to visit us.
Yeah. Well, that's secondary. Is to go to thrift shops, and I always like to come out here over Christmas because I collect Christmas and antique Christmas, and I can find so much stuff that's not available in my area at thrift shops and at department stores and everything. So I come out here on a buying trip.
Yep, and they put it away, so you get to see it.
For my business and also for myself.
That's right. And we get the bonus of being entertained and having some visiting, and it's
And I got a lot of friends out here too.
A lot. Like you can count them on 2 hands, I bet you even.
Show us more than that.
Well, there's a few of us out here since our Colorado Springs and Denver clubs have kind of merged. They're about the same people. So when we go to conventions from Colorado, they just know us collectively as the Colorado girls because we're all the ones that come from Colorado. And there's a good, 5 to 10 of us now, give or take? Yeah.
And like I said, we have fun.
Right? Right, Andy Christie says, if only I could get continuing education credits from this seminar tonight.
Well, I'm going to try to. They're going to try to teach me, and I'm going to start doing some stuff like this at my own place as soon as I kind of get a little bit more educated on how to do it there.
You need Wi-Fi there, Mr.
I know. Well, I got Wi-Fi, but I got Wi-Fi off of Frontier Telephone Company.
Okay, well,
And Frontier is literally, I think they use a covered wagon for deliveries. It's not the best Wi-Fi
yeah.
that you can ever imagine.
I know. And Barb doesn't have great Wi-Fi even
Yeah.
just up north outside of Parker either.
And that's
so.
the main drawback of why I haven't started doing stuff like this so far.
Oh no, Angelic Treasures has COVID and been in the hospital. That's a bummer. Well, I'm glad you're able to come and watch some good Fenton tonight. It'll at least distract you for a little while. So, all right, master class. There we go. Hey, Daniel, how are you doing tonight? Let's see. I'm selling. You right? Yes, so much in the 90s. That's what I remember was because I worked for Hallmark, and that
Yeah,
was
I
one of the
forgot about
companies
that.
that
Yeah,
would carry
Hallmark was a big company.
Fenton's glass.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said, I'm like, oh, it's just some more of this collector's glass stuff. And I bought one piece. That's
All that
all I
time.
bought in all like the year, 2 years I worked for Hallmark. I only purchased one piece.
I've been like a kid in a candy shop.
I know. If we only knew that we should have picked it up then, it
Yeah,
would have been
because
better.
I love the stuff from the 40s and 50s, but I'll still
Mhm.
buy stuff 70s, 80s, 90s, on up to 2000.
Yep. Annie Christie has friends out in Elizabeth.
Oh, that's up by me.
Yep. I'm glad you like Fenton because we have a little bit of it tonight. So, all right. So where are we at? We're going to start this new
Okay.
group at $45 is the starting offer.
The blue
And I'll let you
opalescent-
talk about it.
Blue opalescent rose bowls, daisy and fern pattern. It was made by Fenton for LG Wright, 1940s. Very cute piece.
Bring it up in here. So
This is another piece that they did for another company. LG Wright was a very interesting company.
Daisy and Fern.
Daisy and fern.
Okay. So how do we know this is LG Wright instead
Okay,
of Fenton?
Fenton did the Daisy and fern later on after Wright had pretty well was closing out of business. Wright, Fenton's petals on their flowers would be curved.
So
And Wright's was always straight.
they kind of do a little C curve.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Instead of being straight out. And that was the only nuance. That was the difference on those.
That was pretty well the only difference in the pattern itself.
Okay.
And then they made different shapes than what Wright made, of course. Too.
Okay, yeah. So they used the Daisy and Fern Optic
Yeah,
on different
mhm, right,
shaped
mhm,
pieces
than what
of
Wright
glass.
used, yeah.
Okay.
And but LG Wright, very interesting company. They bought molds from Northwood, Dugan, all of the late 1800s, 1900 glass companies. But he bought them in during the Depression. In the late 1930s, he wanted to make glass, but he did not have a furnace, so he would go to Fenton, Imperial, Westmoreland, a lot of the New Martinsville. Later on, that was Viking. A lot of the different companies, and they would make the glass for him. This is Fenton. This color is Salem blue. It was made in the 1980s.
It's a really nice pastel.
Covered hen on the nest. One of the ways you can tell Fenton's covered hens, the small one, it's got the arches in the base of it.
And then this one.
The basket weave pattern. This piece is from the 1920s. They did some limited opalescent back at that time before they went in full-scale opalescent production in the late 30s. There, you'll find basket weave pieces with 2 rows and 3 rows.
What is that?
And the 3 rows is the
Open.
most desirable, 2 rows. But any of them in the basket weave is fairly hard to find. And they did a number of different shaped pieces in basket weave.
Dolores, what we're doing is an opening offer. And it's basically like a bid, quote unquote. The minimum we'll take per piece is 45, so we're opening it up to offer. And then the person with the highest offer gets first choice of the 3 pieces, and then our backup offers will get next choice. Would you like to light that one up, Miss Barb?
Yes, I would.
It will glow. The green, most of the green back at that time, including depression glass, was they used some uranium. I don't think they used as much as what they did in the Vaseline glass, but they did use some, so it will show up and glow.
It is pretty though. That green is just beautiful.
Yeah, I always liked that shade of green. I always thought that was such a pretty delicate shade.
The stickers you're seeing on the bottom are just our way of denoting who it belongs to, so we can keep track of our inventory. So they don't mean anything to you guys, just to us.
I know whenever I ship stuff I've sold on Etsy, I have all those sorts of notations on the address label. People say, "What are those?" So I know what I'm doing.
Yep. All right, where are we at? I see Laura at 52. And then I'll take MJ, you might need to refresh. You're a little bit behind there. All right, and Chris is at 55. Laura's back in at 57. Ooh, Miss Paula. Yeah, MJ, you're on a lag, so you might need to just pop back in and out or catch up on your feed.
Those are three pretty pieces. I love that Vaseline, that green opalescent one.
Yeah.
I always loved that shape
Mm-hmm.
because that was an old carnival glass shape that they had started doing the opalescent on there in the 20s. And then they lost that mold. They probably went during Second World War, that mold or that shape. The mold itself probably went to scrap drive for the war effort. And then whenever they started making it again in the 70s and 80s, and like in Roseland Lane and the reissued Carnival, they had to recreate the mold.
Yeah,
that
because
shape.
it's a pretty common
Yeah.
style.
And if you look at the mold that they did in the 70s and 80s, it is just a tad bit smaller than what that one is.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we'd like to show the pieces again. All right.
And that one has really good opalescence on that Daisy and Fern. Some of them aren't quite as clear.
Sometimes
That
they're
one.
almost like transparent in the opalescence, but this one is really good.
Really strong opalescence.
This is hard to do because it's you can see the egg detail and the feathers.
That Salem blue is such a delicate color too. Actually, it's a good color to make something like that because it shows off the detail of the glass more.
Yes, it does. And there's the big Fenton oval logo on the base. Can you do the green one?
I can do the green one.
Awesome, thank you.
This is the basket weave with that original 1920s mold. Actually, that basket weave probably started. It's the carnival glass reverse.
Yeah, that shape they started using during the carnival glass period because that was the one that they would put the raspberry or blackberry plunger in.
Yeah.
Make the blackberry pattern also.
There's a few others that are done with that too.
It's that blue piece up there is not raspberry, isn't it? Design.
No, okay. I don't think we've got a raspberry right
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry about the whole hospital and being sick thing. I hope you're healing quickly. Or soon being able to leave the hospital. That would be great too. Okay, I see Laura's back in at 72. Chris and Laura, I'm going to let them duke it out here for a minute. How about we
fight?
Yeah?
Fight.
Auctioneers love people like you guys.
There's no use me ending it if the two of you haven't figured out who's going to get it yet.
Yep.
So
I always remember the auctioneer I used to go to.
Okay, Miss Paula.
He was pretty much of an old character. Some little gal had never been to an auction before and have her card stuck in the air. He yelled down from the auction truck, "Just keep it up in the air, honey, and I'll take care of you."
Okay, let's sell it. We'll be sold. They're asking what we're calling the edge of this bowl. It's just a ruffled.
Yeah, it's just a ruffled. It's a rose bowl.
Yeah, that's the word. The crimp
of
the rose bowl.
They call it the rose bowl crimp
because it goes
cups in, and then they crimp it.
Okay, so here, see how it goes in this way? That's the rose bowl. If it went out like this,
it would be a vase.
It would be a vase. It's the same thing. Just depending on how they finished it.
That's the fun of Fenton and a lot of these companies. You see these different shapes, and if you look very closely, it's all on the same mold or on the basic shape. They made off the same mold there because Fenton had that shape like that they did rose bowls, and that was the same shape as the little the 7-inch basket.
Yep. there are other authors of Fenton books, but so somebody's saying they're anxious to go home from the hospital and find out if their books are John. So
Yeah, there's Margaret Whitmire, Randy and Debbie Cole, James Mazzell, Bill Heacock.
is A considered Fenton? It's LG Wright.
Made
by Fenton.
Yeah.
So technically it's LG Wright, but it's Fenton Glass.
We always laugh and call it Fenton's first cousin.
So yes,
However you decide you want.
it's almost like a LG Wright made by Fenton is a Fenton subset of collecting.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting on Chris's choice, and then Laura, if you want a choice after Chris, you just put it in the chat.
Assuming that Chris doesn't take all 3 pieces.
Well, you know, Chris is my biggest cheerleader. She's been so supportive and really helpful in encouraging everybody to subscribe and to like and to come watch my videos.
Well,
and
you
everything.
need somebody like that on any of this stuff. It's hard to get started.
She's been very, very
I always
supportive.
appreciate people
She
that
wants
supports me
seafood.
on Etsy and likes my items and everything, because they may not buy them, but then they like them and somebody else sees it and
That's
they
right,
might
because that
make it
boosts your posts and everything. All right. Thank you, Miss Chris.
And I wish I could get on the different ones and do that more, but with I've got limited time listing on Etsy, doing antique shows.
Yeah, John doesn't need
traveling out here to Colorado.
And then Miss Laura, you wanted the green one also? Okay. So if anyone else is interested, we have A or B available. Thank you so much, Miss Chris. Thank you, Laura, for your bids as well. Do you have another group ready for us?
I do have another group ready.
We're on 2 hours and 10 minutes, just so you know where we're at.
Okie dokie.
I know, Daniel. Chris is awesome. I love her.
We're going to start this group off at 75 when we get there.
Okay, I'll do that first.
Not that vase, that's another color. It was called the sculptured vase, but that's another color. Was that sea mist green opalescent?
Sounds about right to me.
Maybe.
It
sure looks like it.
Reasonable.
There's a few of those that
and the opalescents start here and go all the way.
And that's unusual to find it with that much opalescent.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of opalescence.
That's a pretty piece.
It's a heavy piece too. It's substantial.
I've got that in plum opalescent stretch glass, that shape.
I don't know if I see it.
Love it.
I think I feel the logo, but I can't show it to you because I can't see it.
Yeah, it's right in. I can see it from
right in that.
Yeah, in the very center.
Okay, do you want to show me?
Stretch.
The next piece with the roses on it is peach crest. Got the pink inside, has the crest there, and then a company called Abel Wassenberg from out of New York bought it in the 1940s off of Fenton, and they decorated it. They was another company that they call one of them that they call the importers, that had previously bought glass from Germany, Czechoslovakia, Japan, and they couldn't get any of the glass because of the Second World War. So they was stuck with having to buy glass out from the United States.
And their decoration line is called Charlton.
Yeah, I got away from it. Their decoration line, that decoration was called the Charlton line.
Yes.
This piece is a piece of crystal crest.
Oh, now you're going to have to tell them what that means.
Okay, crystal crest is the clear crest, and then it had the added on milk glass crest. They did that right as they started silver crest production in 1941. It was too time consuming to put on the second crest, so they just cut it down and they started calling it silver crest. But at that time, they were calling it crystal crest.
The clear first, and then put the white on after. And it became a double crest?
Yeah, double crest.
Okay, and then what is this?
Okay, that's a Beth Wiseman design. She was another importer. And she would buy the pieces and decorate them. And the interesting thing about that, I don't think Beth Wiseman came onto the scene until later on during the Second World War, but Fenton probably had a bunch of glass in the warehouse. Here, we'll sell it to you. And then she bought it and decorated it.
And it's got some gold along with the other
And
colors.
both Wiseman and Abel Wassenberg, the Charlton pieces, the painting decoration is fired in after they would do the decoration. They did like Fenton did later on in the 70s and 80s. They would put the glass back through the layer and reheat it, and the paint is fired in.
Yeah, so it doesn't pop up. But you don't want to put it in the dishwasher.
No,
That's
none of that.
So I see we have Chris in at 75. This one, I know it won't fit in the frame of the camera. It is about, it's about 9.5 inches
Yeah.
tall.
I always love that shape. Like I said, I
Yeah,
have it in phosphorescent stretch glass, and that's one of my favorite pieces.
I wish this was stretched even more because it's got enough glass in it. It could have been. So what color is B? It is
Peach crest.
peach crest because we have the
Pink inside, and then,
overlaid with white.
yeah, and without the crest, it would be peach blow, but then they added on the crest. And then they put gold on the crest. Abel Wassenberg did.
There will be a quiz later. So yeah, I get them. I say it, and then Barb's like, "You mean peach glow?" Yes, that's what I mean. You mean peach crest? Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Is a Fenton? Yes, this is well, they're all Fenton. All three of these are Fenton.
Yeah.
This one was just painted by Charlton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this one was painted
By
by
Beth Weisman.
Okay.
Yeah.
What year do you think this
That
A
one is from the early 90s. The other two is from the 1940s.
Okay, yes. So this is more going into the QVC era.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
And these two are old pieces.
Yeah.
Like
They'll be
80 years old.
Yeah, they won't have a logo.
Yeah, no logos on the 1940s glass. Okay. So there are flowers painted too. Yes. Yes, this one has the roses painted on it with the gold accents and lines and gold trim on the crest. And then the hat has roses basically also and flowers painted on it with the cobalt line.
Those flowers
And
always
gold.
reminded me of something you would see like in a medal or something like that.
Or like on the Dresden China.
Yeah, on the Dresden China. Yeah, the little sprigs that you see on
Okay.
Dresden there too.
So, yes, A is my teal color. You are correct. That's the color I like. But that's not my favorite piece. So, that one's for sale.
So you're lucky it's for sale. Yeah.
That's right.
Becky's not as bad as the rest of us about having 47,000 pieces of glass in her house.
Yeah, I don't collect as much as they do.
Whenever they used to have the Yahoo groups, me and Barbara was talking about this yesterday. They had the Yahoo groups on the internet. They had a pretty good, solid Fenton group. And one of the questions somebody asked them, in case of a disaster or a fire, what piece would you grab out to take out with you? And we finally all came up with the top 20 pieces. There wasn't one certain piece.
All right. Chris was at 75. So Angelic Treasures, you were the second one in at 75. And then we have Sandy in at 77. Now she's back in it. Angelic's back in at 80. There we go. Yeah, the fire up north in Denver, there wasn't enough time to grab 20 pieces.
No,
Yeah. I don't think.
I felt so bad about that.
That was rough.
That was heinous.
It was only 5 miles north of my daughter's house.
Really?
Yeah.
We was coming back from Wyoming that night, and we was on 25, and we could look across and see the flames shooting. And that was that about 20 miles away from where we was?
No,
was it
No, 10 maybe.
10. Okay,
No,
I
it
didn't know how
wasn't
far it
very far
was.
at
I
all.
didn't know how far it
Interstate.
was.
By the time
But
it
we could
stopped.
see it from 25.
Did they
there,
finally
and
get it out, do you think?
Yesterday with the
Yes,
snow.
the snow?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
that
good.
was just hideous.
Okay.
That just gave me a sick.
I know it was awful, but it was so fast.
Yeah.
So fast. It was like people left their houses to run errands, and then we're like, go home to get stuff out quick.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you got back in the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But anyway. All right. Sandy is out, and Chris is in at 82, so we'll be doing going once. Excuse me. And the Debbie is Angelic Treasures. Okay, I'll have to keep that one in here. It'll probably take me about 5 times before I remember. And Debbie is out, so we'll be going twice. And then we'll give the lag a little bit just in case anybody else is lagging, and then Paula, you can call it sold anytime you like. And we'll see who comes up on top.
Yes.
It's like a race.
It is.
Us versus the internet.
Yes.
All right, I see sold, so that puts it at Chris at 82. Chris, what is your choice, please? And then my backup will be Debbie at 82. Chris wants the C, please, the hat.
That's a
Ooh,
cute
that's a
piece.
neat
I always have liked that shape, and I like that decoration. That's all.
Mhm. And have you ever seen one of these with this shape in crystal crest?
Yeah, you don't see it very often.
Okay. And Debbie would like to take B, please, the Charlton melon vase. And then I think we had one other person in at one point. Let's see. Sandy, are you interested in A for $82? Okay. Peach
Crest.
crest. Trying to memorize it.
I don't know how I ever learned it because I didn't have any books to go by. I just had a couple different dealers that kind of knew. And
I mean, and it's, I think for me, in the last 2 years, the more we handle it, the more we look at it, the more we
Yeah.
talk about it,
Well,
then
it's
it's
like
just
those
that
95,
repetition.
whenever I started writing the book, the
Thank you,
first book,
Sandy.
in 95, I just came hopping in there like, oh, this is going to be such an easy job. I didn't know what I was getting into.
There was no job description for Fenton Book Office
No,
at the time?
there was not.
Oh, okay. Paula would like A, please. I will write that one
Unfortunately.
down.
I got it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paula. All right, I will catch up. You tell me what we're starting with on these.
175.
Those are 3 neat pieces, too.
Whoa, we're not bringing anything that's not neat tonight, are we?
We're high class. What can you say?
Yes, we're very highbrow around here, aren't we?
We'll have the opera playing in. No. Dang.
We got 2 Vikings sitting here, though, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We're pretty cultured.
At least have it playing in the background. Bugs Bunny with What's Opera, Doc.
Right? Watch out for the anvil. Okay, Mr. Walk, what do we have?
Okay, the first one is a Cranberry Balsa Marana that was made, one of the first pieces they made for the Connoisseur collection in the 1980s. They're really neat, kind of a neat color combination.
And it is iridized. So it's got a really nice rainbow finish to it.
I always thought that was so pretty too, and everything. They made a basket that went along. I think the following year the basket came out.
I was thinking they were offered the same year, but I might be wrong.
I'd have to go back and look myself. I get confused on them
If anybody needs the basket, Becky and I have one of those for sale as well.
Oh, yeah, we do.
because whenever all those was coming out, those early sandcar pieces by Fenton was coming out, and I was more into that. And I finally got the last one of them there about a year ago.
What's next?
The Topaz Opalescent with his Vaselines and a satinized Daisy and Fern made by Fenton for L.G. Wright.
Pruitt.
That's the correct.
And that one glows.
Yeah.
We'll do that at the end after you tell us what the next one is.
Okay. This one is the Blue Opalescent Daisy and Fern Berber bottle made by Fenton for L.G. Wright.
Okay.
And one reason you can always tell the L.G. Wright opalescent pieces was all made by Fenton, because Fenton at that time was the only one that had the capacity to do opalescent glass for there
In the optic mold?
in the optic mold, yes. And then the other deal, Frank Fenton told me, you could always be sure that the overlay glass that was made for L.G. Wright and the OPEC, like melt glass and everything,
Yep.
the thick, heavy OPEC, not the
Mhm.
light like you see in the lamps, but the heavy OPEC was all
Yep.
made by Fenton. He said we would do some press pieces and like the transparent glass pieces, but they had any number of factories they could go to for them. But
Yeah. What year do we think this one is?
that's about 1983, 84, right along in
Does
there.
it have a Fenton? Oh, yes.
Yeah,
it
it should
does.
have,
It's
yeah.
got a what do they call it? Etched
Yeah,
mark right
edge
there.
fit mark.
And then it's
212 was-
212 out of 1,000.
Oh.
1000. So they only made 1,000 of these. And that's got a little bit 1970s leftover
Yeah,
sticker
mhm.
on there.
And the other two was in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, this color combination is not very common.
No, all it was made in is that threw it in the basket.
So it's only made in 2 shapes. Yeah, that is a beautiful color combination for sure. Hey, let's light that up. Oops, sorry. There we go. Yeah, that's a doozy right there.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thanks, Debbie. You know, I think that's why we do what we do, because we love Fenton and love
Yeah.
the glass.
And they made such a variety of glass. There's not hardly anything that you find that somebody don't really like.
Exactly, because it's like a little bit of everything, anything,
Yeah.
a little bit of something for everyone.
They went completely after the decorating market. From the time that they started until the time that they stopped making glass, it was completely, they went with the changing trends in decorating.
They did.
The shapes and everything. They hit the niche big time in
Right,
the 1940s whenever they kind of had the Victorian glass revival.
Yes.
And that's whenever they really hit the niche there. And they probably did more glass during that time period. And then again in the 90s whenever that type of glass came back.
Yeah, it was big in the 80s and the 90s too.
But then you see them do a lot of those.
You need-
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Which book would the LG Wright glass be in?
It would be this blue. Yeah. It would be the blue book.
Who was asking? Sandy, this one here, the Fenton Special Orders, which would be the glass from 1940 to 1980 that Fenton made for other companies. So it's not, do you have another one that does any other time period?
Yeah, there is another one that covers the 1980 to 2000.
Okay,
It's the green one.
there you go. So there's 2 different
And
ones.
this
the
one will
Fenton
cover
Special Orders.
QVC, the Mary Walworth pieces, Dorothy Taylor pieces.
There's some carved ones right
Yeah.
there.
Those pieces was made by Mary Walworth's other daughter, Carolyn Woods.
Look, I opened it up to
The
all those
Russo pieces, yeah.
topaz. Beautiful. So these are the 2 books. So Sandy, which one did you want? Did you want the one from 1940 to 1980 or the 80s to present?
Both.
Oh, Debbie says she only collects Fenton. Well, that's a shame because there's so many other beautiful things out there. I mean, but I'm glad you collect Fenton. We all love Fenton here for sure. Let me see. Okay, both of those. Okay, I have you, Sandy, for that. Wonderful. The next question is, why did Fenton shut down? And then if you want to change it up, we don't have any interest in
Fenton
it.
shut down from the glass making at a time when glass was really kind of a glut on the market. It was costing them more. The natural gas was so high. They had a family issue where they was bringing 2 generations of estates to a head. They was having to settle them out. And it was just a varied number of reasons that they finally shut down the actual production. They reorganized, and they're still very much in business, but they don't make their own glass now.
Okay. Quick question. The special order books, what do those run?
$30 each.
Those are 30 each, Sandy. I have you down for one of each of those on my list. Thank you again. So yeah, it was kind of like a perfect storm in a way for
Yeah.
them. Because a lot of
They
the
was going to
collectibles
have to get
market-
out. They're going to have to do something because they did not have the generation of the first Frank Fenton and his brothers, the original Fenton brothers. They did not have that estate settled. And then
I got you.
Frank and Bill Fenton had passed away, and they did not have all. They had to get that estate settled.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was kind of a generational thing, and then all collectibles
And
kind
then-
of took a dive.
Yeah,
through the
and then at that
90s.
time, the 3rd generation, George and Mike, Tom, Randy, and all of them, they was approaching retirement age. They did not have the interest in continuing. A lot of them didn't have the interest in continuing on with the company.
Yep, that's one. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading questions and listening to you at the same time. So I hope that answers the question, basically. I mean, there's no short, cut and dry. It just was a lot of things that all culminated, and that's
mhm.
what ended up happening.
And I could see it being out there pretty regular. I could see it coming right from the time that Frank Fenton passed away up until 2011. He passed away in 2005, right after the celebration. And up to 2011, I kept on seeing signs. Kept on saying they're not going to make it. They're not going to keep on doing this. And that financially wise, they couldn't keep on doing it.
Okay, Paula, thank you. I have Debbie down for the Milk Glass book. The Milk Glass is also a $30 book.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I have Francesca down for the special order book, but I need to know whether you want the 1940s to 80s, which is the blue one,
Excuse my fingers.
and or if you want the 1980s to present, which is the green one. Yep, you're signing books when you send them out, right?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you want the rare non-signed version.
That's what I always say. On down the line, the non-signed ones will be 10 times rarer than the signed ones.
One of each. I have you, Francesca. Thank you. So I'm going to look at this next question, but you start talking about this one.
Okay, that is the Swirl Feather. It was done in '53 as part of the Satin Opalescent line. That is the powder jar. They also made cologne bottles. They made a larger candy dish to go along with that. Makes a neat dress set if you could have all 4 pieces. Very hard to find. It wasn't that popular whenever it came out. They discontinued it after about a year. And now it's one of the prime pieces in the Fenton collector's want list. From that time period.
It's the satinized version of this is spectacular.
And they made it. And
it looks like candy too.
Yeah, most of the time, the unsatinized pieces that you will find in there from time to time had some sort of flaw, so they didn't bother about satinizing them. And they're even more rarer than the satinized pieces.
Now, what do we have an age on this one about?
That was made in 1953.
Okay.
I had a little funny story to tell you. The one lady and she was a big Cranberry and big Fenton collector that helped me with the books. I got lucky and found the non-satinized lime swirl feather candy dish bottle out in North Carolina. This has been about 20 years ago. And I had recently seen her. I was going to see her for a couple more months. I was finding her pieces pretty regular at that time. And right before I saw her, I called her up and told her I had everything boxed up, ready to go. But I said, I haven't got the candy jar bottom back from the factory yet. Mm-hmm. Why'd you send it out there? Have it satinized. I'm going to hurt you. Yanking her chain, but she's one that you shouldn't yank the chain anyway.
You people that'll probably say that about me. So, okay, I have 2 questions. First of all, I'm going to say this is John's Fenton book on milk glass. That's the milk glass book we have, and that's a $30 book.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the other question is, what makes the glass so different from each company? Not meaning designs or such as materials in glass, or what do you think kind of sets different?
A lot of times it was simply the marketing. Well, Fenton had a very good market organization. That probably Imperial and Westmoreland was right behind them on that. And that was one reason why all 3 of them was able to survive. Westmoreland survived into the 80s.
Yeah.
There. And each one had their own special niche of collectors and their own special patterns that the collectors really liked. Mm-hmm. Because all 3 did a lot of milk glass. Westmoreland, Imperial did some opalescent, not a lot. Okay, Westmoreland did a little bit of opalescent, but they also had their flag glass and their satin glass line. Mm-hmm. And each one of them had their own unique type of glass that they sold there.
So the other thing that changes then is some of the designers would move from company to company too, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you end up with some of it being similar between glass companies?
If anybody collects a lot of Fostoria, and a real hot and heavy Fostoria collector, they know that Fostoria in the 70s made a line of real cute animal figuros. Those was designed by John Saffel. Later on, after Fostoria closed, he went over to Fenton and he designed the animals that Fenton started coming out with after 1982-83.
Okay, yeah. All right, we're having a lot of requests on books. So we're gonna show the ones we haven't showed yet, and then
Okay.
we'll do a recap for people who haven't seen. So this is
the Fenton A to Z book.
and it's a soft cover, and
Yeah,
it is.
Okay, everybody was asking because we had the 3 compendiums, and they didn't want to carry all of them in the car. That they were asking for one complete volume that showed everything that was in line from 1940 to 2000. And so we compiled that. Mostly what it is a pattern shot, and then the current prices that came out at that time, and the listing of what pieces was in whatever line.
So like this is that basket bowl we showed. So it shows the shape and then all the different colors.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
sorry. Get it?
All the
All the
different
different colors. that
No,
it
all
came
the
out?
different pieces or the shapes or the molds that was made in that line at
So
that
that was
time.
the red carnival line.
Oh,
So that's the
okay.
color picture.
So by the color.
Yeah.
And then
the pieces that
different
was made in
shapes
that
were
color,
made.
yeah.
Okay.
And the years it was made and everything.
Okay. So there's that one. And this one, A to Z, is
It's
how much?
$20.
$20. Okay. And then what's the other one we haven't shown?
Okay, no, this is Margaret Whitmire's book. This is one that is actually out of print.
Just showing yours
Yeah.
to start with. Let's finish up yours.
Now that's the same one that you've already showed. We went through all of mine.
All right, now we got that. All right, so we're gonna start at the beginning. One book, please. Well, that's the question. So Laura wants the A to Z. Got you. And that's Peggy. Then you're gonna need to tell me specifically what titles you want.
Or just say all 9.
Well, yeah, because there's 9 of them. And then, yeah, I mean,
I don't know how many I have in stock right now. I may have to order, so it may be a little bit before, if we get all this all lined up, before you get them there too. Because if I order, there's about a week lag after I order before they get them to me.
okay, Peggy, we're just want, and Annie Christie wants an A to Z. Okay. Got it. That's the A to Z. We're going to start over again. So the first one was
The Fenton, Big Book of Fenton. That was the first book I did. It came out in 95.
that has 40s to the 70s. Okay. I'm going to hand you this so I can put books up here.
Okay. That'll make me feel better.
Okay. And then we have the compendiums.
There was 3 compendiums that I did. One 1940 to 70. It's actually a expanded version of the Big Book of Fenton.
40 to 70.
Then 70 to 85.
And then there's a third one that's blue. That's 85 or
85
86,
to 2000.
2000. So there's 3 of those. Then we have
Fenton Special Orders.
Gosh, you guys are giving me a workout tonight on the books. The special orders by Fenton. So there's 1940s through 80s, and then the 80s through present. And there's 2 of those. I'll go back and look at the chat in a minute. And here's the milk glass one.
1940 to 85.
Oh,
And then the other one that we don't have with us is the book on Fenton rarities, whimsies, and sample pieces.
yes. So there's one where you don't have to show the cover of, and it's called Fenton Rarities. Okay. Then I'm going to go back here.
And if you're a very in-depth collector of Fenton or like to see weird and unusual things that never were supposed to be, that is the book.
Or things
all
that
of
were exceptionally hard to make.
Yeah, exceptionally hard to make or didn't last very long in the line.
Okay. So I have Peggy down for A to Z. It's right. It's definitely the Wade Whimsy night all over again. But I'm more than happy to help Dawn, because there's so much knowledge in here. No matter what we sit here and show you that's a piece of Fenton, for you to be able to look through a book and see pictures and see numbers and see all the different colors and stuff that they made it in, then if you spot it out in the wild, it's like a light bulb comes
You're like,
on.
I saw
Like,
that
oh,
last
that
night.
is.
Yeah.
One thing irritates me, and I get irritated, not only Fenton clubs on Facebook, but just all
Thank
the
you,
last
Paul.
club. Oh, you can't use the books. The books is no good because the prices aren't any good. But the information that's in them, ignore the prices if
Yeah.
you want to. Information that's in them, the shapes, colors that was made by the different
Mhm.
companies is invaluable. And that's just the only way that you'll learn if you want to collect a certain type of glass.
Yeah.
You will really learn.
The information is all the things you need, but the price guides are basically out of
I've got
date
books,
as soon as they're published.
I got
Most of them.
antique reference books from the 40s and 50s, and none of that information has ever been redone.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form. And sometimes I'll get a piece and I'll have to go all the way back to them.
LJ says John's authored as many books as The Wheel of Time.
Exactly.
They just put up. All right.
You're the next Robert Jordan.
Gotta go. Thank you, Jan, for joining us. Make sure you do a thumbs up on the way out. How much the books are? The soft covers are 25. 20. 20. And the hard covers are 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
And somebody told me, was it you that told me that
One of your soft cover is 25? Yes.
Yeah. No, was it you that telling me that some of the hard covers, like the compendiums, different places, was going for $45 and $50 each?
I have
Somebody
Debbie
told
for
me
A
that.
to
Some of
Z.
the auctions there.
Yeah, some of the auction.
Hi, Debbie. I got Debbie for A to Z. Hard cover 30. You are on it, Chris. Thank you. How many are there and how much? Peggy, there's 9 books. How many are the soft cover? 2?
2 soft covers and the rest is hard cover.
So 2 would be 20 each and 7 would be 30 each. That's 100, 250.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, because I've done that before with people there. I have had to ship them all 9. I was trying to remember what it was, but it is 250.
And since they ship media mail, they're not very expensive shipping wise.
Yeah.
Lois, I have you down for the A to Z and the milk glass. Thank you.
Looks like I'm gonna
Okay.
have to be calling Schiffer and making another
That's right.
order.
Yeah.
You gotta go work when you get home.
As if I don't have. I'm moving into an antique mall. I just found
You
out
are.
today.
Oh, wow. Okay, I think everybody's kind of got all the books. If not, I think we're all caught up. Paula, I got the last one. She's on it. Do we have more? We've been on for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Is there anything else you want to show? I think about 3 hours is where we're going to max out on this here.
You're going to do that big Kelsey?
Yeah, let's do the biggie.
Let's do the biggie.
Did I get Debbie? Yes, I got Debbie for an A to Z. Thank you so much. Debbie, I don't think I have shipped to you before, so can you make sure that you send your information here to vintagevikingtreasures@gmail.com? That would be awesome. Thank you so much. Ooh. Here's a pretty one.
Roses and butterflies.
Okay, what is our starting offer on this?
500.
500. Wham, 500 mamma jammas right there.
That is beautiful.
Is this the
There's the
size
butterfly right there.
of the globes for the
Just about, yeah,
Gone
just
with the
right
Wind?
at the same size.
Okay.
What is that about?
Wait, you want us to measure it?
Yeah,
too?
please.
Good grief, what do we look like? Your personal secretary?
Yes.
It's about 9 inches tall. And what would you say? I'm echoing in the vase. Can you hear it?
It's
What do you think it is across there, give or take?
9, 10.
So it's about 9 by 9 globe.
Yeah.
So if you're familiar with the Gone with the Wind lamps, where they have the big spherical shades at the top and the big spherical base, this is about the size of a top of one of those. What color are we talking
This
about
is
here?
Cranberry.
Okay.
Pilgrim was the other company in the United States. They started in 1980, and they was actually surpassed Fenton as being during that time period, being the largest cranberry producer in the United States.
And I believe, if I remember right, this one was number 37 out of only 50 made
Yeah.
of this vase.
A to Z. Okay, I have Christine for A to Z. Carry on, you're good.
My eyes just about popped out of my head whenever I saw that one there. This came out of that same estate as some of the other Kelsey pieces we've been selling.
Well, here's what I find interesting. For someone who's seen so many pieces and written 9 books, for you to come across something you've never seen before is amazing.
Well, what was the aggravating part? This just shows you how I was. I had left. I was supposed to leave to come out here on that Monday on the 20th, and I had left the previous Thursday to go out to Columbus, Ohio to shop the antique show. I didn't get in until about 8 o'clock Friday evening, and I thought, I'm not going to go over there. And I kept on looking at that ad on the state sales map. I thought, dang, I need to go over.
Right?
And boy, am I glad I went over. Because I
Yeah,
still
that's
got a
when you
lot of.
make time and make money to
Yeah.
go over
Yeah.
there and
Yeah.
do something like that.
And so I ran over there first, and they opened up at 8 o'clock on that Saturday morning. My mistake was I should have been home earlier on Friday because it opened up at 4 o'clock on Friday evening, and a lot of the good Fenton that was pictured already had sold.
Oh wow.
That's why I went over there, because there was so many. I saw the Kelsey pieces, several of the Kelsey pieces on there, and I was curious as to what they would have on there.
Thank you, Paula. I think I'm caught up again.
But like I said, I wish I would have been over there on Friday evening to see what all that they had in there. It's absolutely drop dead fabulous.
It's light too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very light.
I imagine that was.
How about you
very-
sell this and you ship this one?
Cranberry, like I said, is a blown glass, and would be 10 times lighter than
True.
that, like that green piece.
So it says Kelsey Pilgrim. Oops, right there. 1999, and then the number, and it's what? 37 out of 50. There's only 50 of these pieces in the whole entire universe.
Or were only 50, and I'm
Well,
guessing as fragile as
that's it.
those are.
That's it. They intended, sometimes that's what I've learned too. They've intended for there to be 50 pieces, but they didn't necessarily all
I don't
survive.
know the breakdown on that, because I never have had occasion to talk to anybody on a lot of those like that. I know on the Fenton, whenever they did the Robert Barber limited edition pieces in the 70s, that's the way it happened. They couldn't sell them, and so there was supposed to be 500 each of them made, but some of them they never got over 150 of them produced.
Does that help any for the color wise to be a little bit closer? I keep hearing my echo in that. It's the weirdest thing. Go back
That's-
here. Does broken Fenton glass have any value?
It depends if it's a piece that's damaged and you really like it, if you pick it up reasonable. Yeah. Or if it's a sentimental piece that you've had in the family for
Crack
years.
to the back.
I've got
Put
a
it on
lot
the
of
shelf,
pieces
yeah.
that is damaged. I don't care whether it's damaged or not, if it's something that I really like.
Or if in shards, make some jewelry out of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you guys see carved stuff, I mean, we know enough people all across the country. If you're not willing to go pay for it, which is fine because it is expensive, give us a shout out. I might have somebody I know who's near it and is willing to go pay for it and pick it up. So, yeah, it's pretty neat.
And there's been a lot of pieces I bought knowingly damaged. I know I would never see again.
Oh yeah, and I've bought a few pieces like that. I mean,
And with me being a dealer, there's been a lot of pieces that I bought in good condition that's gotten damaged. I thought, I can't throw this away. I like that, so I'll just go ahead and put it in the house.
well, and that's what happens too. I know for Mom, being a collector, is she'll find it, and then she'll find another one that's cracked, and then she'll keep the cracked one for herself and sell the other one.
I've done that
for your
before,
collection.
too.
Yeah.
There's been other times I've had a piece in the shop, or thinking I had a piece in the shop, and I sold it, and then I thought, I got that piece in the house that I wanted, and the house, it's damaged. So,
Right. So I'm thinking everybody loves looking at this one, but it's a little bit higher price point. Was there any other last things you wanted to show?
Sure, you want to do an apern real quick?
no, let's do an e-prime.
Yes, it says Kelsey on the script. Can you show that on the bottom again really quick? So that's the who carved. Pilgrim made this glass, and it says Kelsey. You gotta come my way because
I'm trying.
It's
Hold on.
It's reversed. So you gotta come this way more. Right there. So it says Kelsey and then Pilgrim, the year, and then the model number of the glass piece, and then 37 out of 50. So shine a light on that one. You mean like a black light? I don't think it'll do anything.
I don't think it will. It might.
I mean, it would be cool to have like, yeah, I mean, if you light it up from the inside, here, turn off this one. Oop, wrong one. I mean, it's definitely, it just reflects the blue light of the black light.
We had a little tea light to put inside. I'm guessing
That would be pretty.
would show the
I have this one, but it's tiny. If you'd like to set it in there to show off the pattern, keep flipping the light. So it's a little yellow on that. So, I mean, if you had something that was bright white, it would definitely show off the pattern a bit better. Yeah, I mean that's why this size was great for lamp
Yeah.
shades, because the illumination shows off the pattern so much more.
But I would hate to cut the bottom out of that for a lampshade.
Oh,
I could just see that shattering into a million pieces.
oh
while
yeah.
you're trying to
Can
have
you
that
maybe
done.
push the other light inside the regular light inside it?
Sure.
Come on, Barb, aren't you up for a challenge? That's about as close as we're willing to get. The problem is blowing it out at the top. So you can kind of see the pattern, like right here, the butterfly and the flowers as it goes. But it is incredible. It's really pretty. Good job, Barb.
Thank
So
you.
the word on the street was whenever Fenton started making glass for Kelsey to design for them, Dave Fetty had to learn how to make case glass all over again because it wasn't always even.
Yeah.
She needed something to get a
Even.
design on
You're
all
welcome,
sides
Elton.
perfectly even.
Yeah.
And I guess there was some friction on that deal.
Andy, Chris,
It
you
kind
have
of
to
got
send me a
ugly a
picture of
couple
that in
times.
Messenger. In Messenger, on like Instagram or something. That'd be awesome to see. Andy Christie says she's got a piece that's only signed Kelsey on the side.
You'll
of
see
it.
some
That's how
smaller
most of
pieces.
them
They was very early that would only be signed Kelsey.
She's a little excited.
Yeah.
That she found out what it is.
There'll be signed Kelsey like in a script on the design itself, and they was very early pieces, right whenever she first started doing glass for Pilgrim.
You know, since we've been showing Kelsey, anybody want to see that deer lamp?
Sure, let's throw that up there quick. I mean, we're not at the end here yet, but here's an answer to that question. Is a piece still valuable if it's cracked or chipped? This will where we can kind of answer that question. So Barb bought a lamp. I didn't own it, unfortunately. I mean, at one point it was like, darn, I wish I'd found that. And then somehow, I mean, it went to Alabama and came back, and then it came out for a show on Facebook. And when we brought it out for Facebook, it's got a big crack in it. But it is Kelsey. Is it Kelsey or is it?
It's Kelsey.
It's a Kelsey.
Yeah.
Kelsey sand carved for Fenton, and it's sand carved. We'll show you on both sides of the shade. So it's called reverse, right? Isn't it reverse carving? It's carved on the inside of the shade, so you can kind of see some of the trees in there. And there's the F right here for the Fenton, and then some words right there.
Yeah, it's called the Into the Glen lamp.
And then it's carved on the outside of the shade. And this color was chocolate made in
2005.
2005. That's
We
an
got a
inside
running
joke.
joke on that.
Can I tip it?
Please do.
Let me just slam it.
Are you going to break it, Becky? Dang it.
Yeah, no, it's already broken. So it's got deer and trees and grass.
Grass.
So there's what, 2-3 layers carved in it?
And there's 2 or 3 scenes as you go around.
Yeah. So we'll turn it
So you have a
around.
buck and doe on there.
Good night, Paul. Barbie. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Make sure you give a thumbs up on the way out. And she's saying thank you to John and Barb too. Oh yeah, this bar, you can't see it because it's blown out on that light. There's the stag with the antlers, and then there's a doe like down by his feet. Lots of
There's
different
the ding.
And here's what happened to it. We hold it still long enough.
That's sometimes I have been literally
there.
sat down and cried whenever I
And it
broke
cracks
pieces.
up. Around about there.
I just got barfed when we put it up that night. So instead of this being a $1,200 lamp, this is a $350 lamp.
Can you plug it in for us?
I just did.
I will turn off this light. Yes, Lois. Fenton closed in 2000 well, they're not closed. They stopped making glass in 2011. They still have a gift shop and
They have glass
painters.
made by Monster, Blanco, several other different colors. John and Ann Fenton is making glass for them.
Is that showing up on there?
If you can back it up, that's the problem. It's too close. That's why I backed up the camera.
Sorry.
So it's kind of got that warm,
It's really sunsetty,
pinky
sunrise looking.
yellow look to it when it's lit up. Yeah. So yeah, so if it hadn't had a crack, it would be. Did you say?
We were going to start it at 1,000 the other night, thinking you would go for to 1,200 and up.
And now that it has a crack, it's worth about
350 to 500.
definitely not worth scrapping because it's still pretty and you can move the crack so you don't see it.
Yeah.
However, it cut the value about what, two-thirds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the exact number, but there are so few of these made, and I'm guessing so few of them survived. Because
Sure, Auntie Christy.
that's a, it's a, yes, you keep it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's it. The majority of glass, if it's cracked, chipped, or broken, is 25 to 30% the retail value.
Yeah.
It's not that it doesn't have any value. It's just that most collectors want their pieces in pristine
Right, yeah.
condition.
This is what's called a shelf piece.
But I always say
The shelf sipper.
I'm the home for lost and Wayfair glass.
Yeah, we often joke about being the island of misfit toys.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Because I see a nice piece of glass, I can't stand for it just set out
Well,
there.
you don't want somebody to go, oh, it's broken, I'll just chuck it.
Yeah, I just can't stand. I don't handle that.
Like your mom with the Cambridge basket the one time. I'm going to put that in my garden. No, even not.
My mom likes to put broken glass in her garden.
I do.
I mean,
John, it
it's
was a Cambridge
broken,
Rabina
broken.
big basket.
Yeah, I know.
I couldn't remember if you'd heard that story.
She
I've
put
got
that one up.
I've got a whole bunch I'm going to try to get placed around that has stuff that happened in the shop over the last couple of years. I'm going to try to get placed around this spring.
Okay, you got that?
Yep.
That's connected somehow. I can't.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. I think this is gonna be our last. This gonna be our last piece of glass. Yep, big,
That's an
big
absolutely
difference,
wonderful piece.
and definitely a collection piece for sure.
That is the blue opalescent with an aqua crest, diamond lace pattern. Oh, I said blue opalescent, French opalescent with an aqua
my
crest, diamond lace pattern.
Okay, French opalescent. So it's the clear to the opalescent. I'm gonna have to bring the camera up so you can see it. It's an e-pern. So it's French opalescent, meaning clear to the opalescent with a aqua crest,
Aqua crest,
and the pattern is
diamond lace.
diamond lace. So it's like a diamond with a dot in it. And then it's an e-pern, which is the style of the piece,
Yeah,
right?
it's actually a floral
shape?
arranger.
So it's kind of like a frog down in there.
Well, it has holes in it to put the bowl has holes in it to put the
Well, those are the three
flowers in.
What?
Flower
I can't get
arranger.
one out with that.
Oh.
That's where I'm at.
That's because they've got Museum John.
Yeah, they're stuck in there good. They're not wiggling. Oh, okay. I'm really off on the camera currently. So it's like a frog where it's got a hole to put the horn, so it sits snugly
Yes.
in there for what was the starting offer? I'm sorry.
275.
275. I got in the middle of typing and I quit. So yep. And Epergene, an e-pern.
Yes.
Lots of people have lots of different ways to pronounce the name of this piece.
Correct pronunciation.
That's easy for you to say, John.
Correct pronunciation. I can't even say it right now. Is e-pern.
But most would say Pern.
Of course, me and her has been going around and around and around because I've got a southern way of putting things, and she's got this Midwest blah Western way.
Colorado accent,
That includes all the letters in a word,
except for T for mountains.
But you know that heavy dinnerware, like the Winterberry
Don't
pattern?
start.
What's that called, John?
Voltsgraph?
Voltsgraph, yes.
What do you call it?
I had been calling it Flagstaff.
I would know what you mean by that, but that's not it.
We finally had to have a come to Jesus moment about that.
Mhm. Exactly. That's funny. All right. Well, it's 9 o'clock. Thank you guys for watching. Do you
Thank
have
you.
any other questions? I have a whole list long here of people for books that I will pass on to John. I will straighten that up a little bit. So if you have any other questions, just let us know. You can put them in the comments after if you're watching the replay. Flagstaff as in Arizona.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you so much, John. Thank you, Barb, for coming, being
I
our
enjoyed
Vanna
it.
and rotating our glass out. And thanks for coming and visiting us.
And all you that bought these pieces, I hope you really enjoy them because
Yeah.
I've had fun obtaining them and getting them and everything.
Yep. I think some of it's half the fun is just going out and looking and the
A
thrill
friend
of
of
the
mine
hunt.
said years ago, it's not so much having it, it's the thrill of the hunt.
Yep. It's always fun to go looking.
Yep.
So, and then we know that there's more out there we've never even seen
Yeah.
before.
I've always seen different stuff. We found a piece today I had never seen in person. That Tiffin butterfly plate.
I'd never seen her in person either, and I collected it.
She went pale whenever I pulled.
Oh, holy mackerel.
Sorry, I'm squashing another box.
Mackerel was probably not the word.
Probably not. So.
Yeah, she just went
Oh, sorry,
completely
Steph.
pale.
You'll have to watch the replay. So, thank you, Francesca. She says, Barb and Becky, you two are terrific.
Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed watching all the pretty glass. Thank you for your purchases. Thank you for putting down for getting some of John's books. Got to put him to work when he goes home. Very educational, they said. Yep, I think I got the bot. Thank you, Chris. Do it again. I'm sure we will be doing
I'll be
it
back
again.
out next summer sometime.
Yep. And then I think, and Barb and I were going to start discussing our calendar as to how, who was doing what when. And I'm thinking I've got to be going somewhere by March for sure, right? I mean,
I would think.
we've been home since November. It's already been
I know.
You guys
Two
can
whole
get good
months.
Wi-Fi reception. We can do it out here there at my place.
That's right. You get some good Wi-Fi, and we don't even have to be in the same room. We can do this. That's how we normally
Yeah.
do the sales on YouTube, is that everybody is in their own location, and we sell stuff from all over the country at the same time. It's pretty amazing invention they have going on here. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate the compliments. I appreciate John and Barb spending their time with us. And yes, Christine, I will be going to Texas. October to be exact. I have a wedding coming up down there. My nephew just got engaged, so he just sent me a date.
And you're like,
save the
"Oh."
date. So yes, we will be going to Texas for sure. And we went through Texas on the way home from Alabama.
Yeah, I
By
knew you
way
had.
of Florida.
Yeah, I knew you had went down to Florida. I didn't
Mhm.
know how you came home there.
Yeah, we went all through the Scandinavian shops on the way
Well,
there.
that would have been fun.
Yeah, it was. So, all right. I think that does it. Anything else we need to add? If you haven't sent in your information, send it right there to vintagevikingtreasures@gmail.com, and we'll get invoicing all set up for you as soon as we can get it all together. So,
If you bought John's books, you'll get a square invoice.
yep. And the books will be a little
Kelsey?
bit further down the road because when will you be heading home?
I will head home on Wednesday, and I probably won't get anything started until the first of next week.
Okay, so it'll be about a
I've
week or
got
so
stuff
till he
that
gets the books.
orders that I've been compiling from Etsy since the 20th.
Mhm. Yep.
I've got to get them taken care of first.
Okay, sounds good. Yes, subscribe, thumbs up. Thank you, everyone. So we'll see you next time. Thank you. Say good night.
Good night.
Bye.